Let's have a look. We should be live very soon.
Yep, the
Come on.
broadcast is live. Just came across my screen.
Cool. That's good. So
That
yeah,
wasn't
welcome.
that wasn't in
Welcome.
chat. That's
No, I think we're live now. So welcome
good.
to
Good.
Mind Blowing Channel with myself, Underground Citizen, and the one and only Rainbow Storm.
Welcome, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. Thank you for being here, and to Daz, thank you.
Yeah, I mean we pulled this together in 48 hours, haven't we? Really, Storm. To be fair.
You did, Daz. Come on, he did the
Well,
magic.
we both did. I mean, I'm usually set up for DJing, so I'm a bit distant from the camera, So it's just we're here and now, and it's our first time, so we'll adjust all that, won't we, Storm, as we go. So,
Yep, we'll fix it.
but it's been a roller coaster of a week, hasn't it? Really, we've been talking in the background about the Nicola Bulley case, and other things that we're both into, conspiracies, and life in general.
It's been a roller coaster 3 months, eh?
Well, yeah, it has, hasn't it? Really,
Wow.
That's my first starting point. What actually got you into the Nicola Bulley case? What triggered you?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question, Daz. Can you hear me, Daz, loud and clear? All
I
good?
can't. All good. Can
Brilliant.
everybody else see a Storm? Okay. Can we get a thumbs up? We've got people in chat.
Oh, great, fantastic. Just to say, Daz is running chat, so Daz will be. I don't have access to chat, so just run chat through Daz, please, and Daz will just be sending it over to me. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll pull things up on screen, and then just because we need your brain to focus, brother.
Thank you, Daz. Nice one. Yeah, to answer your question, Daz, what got me into it? My partner's fault. I'm going to have to shift blame. Yeah, my partner mentioned it a few times as it came up on TV, I guess, for everybody, and it was very similar,
Yeah.
I kind of try to ignore it a little bit, I was busy, and then it just got to me. After the third or fourth time, I paid it some attention, and when I did that, yeah, and that's, I guess, where our journey begins, Daz. Why I and others got hooked into this case, really, from a emotional level. Generally, a person gets involved intellectually on an investigative level. Some minds are like that, but this case touched people emotionally. Why?
I think it was a photograph. I'm after it now, and I put it on one of my first videos. It was the one with Nicola and Paul, and the photo didn't look correct with me. This is the thing, Storm. For some reason, it was a photograph that drew me to it. It didn't look natural. The lighting, the way that she was in the frame, Paul was in the distance. It captivated me. That's what grabbed me.
So, Daz, right there, Daz, you say that about the photographs. All the photographs, Daz, are odd. Like everybody's noticed from the beginning. I questioned it.
Okay.
My partner mentioned that you have techniques these days on IT where you have filters and things. Yeah, so you can basically mess around with a normal photo and then it won't look real. So it's difficult to know what was done by a person purposefully for their own, purposes, or by somebody else.
That's the one there. That was the first picture I think they released a day or two after.
Come on, Daz, that the expression, the mouth doesn't fit the picture. The picture doesn't fit the picture. Nicola Bulley, unfortunately, the picture called Nicola Bulley, or if it is Nicola Bulley, and let's say no disrespect in this whole thing. It's very difficult, family and folks out there, if you're not present within the biological part of this case, like you don't know the people involved, the family, you very much at an information point. There is no evidence or biological material factor. It's all informative, digital.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the photo, you've got obviously she's doing a selfie, and I've noticed Nicola always is to the left or to the right of the frame. She always wants to get the territory in frame rather than herself on a selfie. And I've asked people and they say, well, that can be happen sometimes because she probably likes where she's walking. But it's just, that picture's just set the whole stage for me.
That picture does, and all the others. I mean, they look,
Yeah.
as you say, not just photoshopped, but the expression does not fit the environment.
You know, without a doubt. So, I mean, we've got 3 points of view, haven't we? There's probably a couple of more as well that could have happened, but the ones that we spoke about, no, I know the ones that you're close to, the ones we're going to discuss tonight, really. I mean, at the end of the day, we can never come to a conclusion or anything because we have no proof. So basically, we're reading between the lines, aren't we? You know,
Agreed.
that's,
Agreed,
you know, so that's the problem we're faced with, and I've wondered if that's been the idea for more long. I mean, all the advertising, all the promotion that's gone into this case, you know, it's been from day one, hasn't it? I mean, I know she's gone missing, and they're after people to come and find her. So yeah, let's get back to point one. Okay, so let's go down the fact that it could be a ritual sacrifice because there's a lot of synchronicity with numbers, and this is your forte, isn't it, Storm?
Well, Daz, it's something that I've come to know over the years, but it's not my complete and utter forte or interest. But unfortunately, I think the idea is to know the enemy. And unfortunately, there are threats known as, let's say, enemies in this world that we have to protect ourselves from. And in this case, there seems to be an enemy involved, and it would be sensible to know that enemy. Hence, I've learned about the elite, the deep state, the Masons, and just the pyramidical down the pyramid to kind of what happens, how it happened, how we, things like that.
So, what led you down that road, Storm? You know, I've watched your videos a lot from day one, and with my channel, I always, you know, credited channels, and I spoke to you about the reason why, you know, I didn't mention you, even though I was watching you, and that was something personal with. We won't go into who, but I know it was. There's a lot of. The problem is with the net at the moment, it's gone into a frenzy of argumentative, you know, I don't know, things, you know, but that's what worried me. So, you know, I've always followed what you've done, and so yeah, take us down the road, Storm. Let's go down the road.
Yeah, so let's
Start
link
from the
those.
beginning.
Great, Daz. Excellent. So it's a good place to start from,
Yep.
I find.
Hmm.
So let's just go back to the first thing. The emotional connection is basically, you asked me personally, what got me involved was the emotional connection. That's what got me involved.
Yep. Okay.
And I think that's what got me involved on the bigger psyop side, which you're also asking about, which is I saw many people get emotionally involved.
Yep.
Like they even had a physical, biological reaction for the first time ever, as far as I can see, in that hundreds, perhaps thousands of people physically moved their bodies to one location for one oriented goal, which in this case was a missing woman, Nicola Bulley. Now, that's paradigm. That's the first time I've seen that happen, and I think we should discover why. And on the psyop side, that is why I'm interested. On the physical, emotional, human side, if Nicola Bulley, and I say if with complete respects because I have feedback from both sides saying she's not and she is. And as I said in the beginning, unless I go and physically visit St. Michael's and the good people and the family that I believe exists, I will not know. I can only say. So that's important. So I'll just link the two up and say that what brought me into the Nicola Bulley case is the same thing that brought me into understanding the elite, the Masonic hold on the whole population in general.
Sorry
and
to
where they came
interrupt,
from. Please do.
Storm. Did you have any theories from when it first, came about and you saw that she was missing? Because at first hand, it was just a lady had gone missing, a mum had gone missing, just a normal news report, wasn't it? There was nothing bizarre about it whatsoever, apart from the photograph that grabbed me. And then did you go down all different avenues in your mind? I thought she could have just left her life, just left the keys and left Willow, and because they mentioned Essex. So I was thinking, did she actually just go back to Essex? And I think Peter even was thinking, did she just walk off? That was what was being mentioned, wasn't it, a lot?
But it's quite possible, isn't it, Daz? So let's go down that road and then bring me back to what I felt originally. Firstly, we were fed, and I believe now, in fact, I've proved it's a complete narrative we've been fed, and it's a false narrative. So then we'll go into later under psyop and ruse and cover up, and it fits into all three. Why a false narrative? But originally, the feed to us was that the only exit that Nicola Bulley could have taken was the towpath. She couldn't have gone out this way, Rowan Water Lake, because of firstly, there was one CCTV out of the two functioning. Then it changed to two functional CCTV cameras. And she couldn't have gone across the river because there's a river. So the only way she could have exited, but she's just not here. Now, to not dramatize that, to be honest, any person with two legs and a little bit of strength can walk through ankle deep or knee deep water anywhere on the river, anywhere. So the actual opposite is true. The exits possible to any one person, in this case, Nicola Bulley, are anywhere. 360-degree anywhere, not just the towpath at all.
Yeah. The other thing is as well, I noticed on one of the channels, the guy who was walking about with the camera, the foot soldiers, I called him, he went past a little canoe. It was further downstream. I don't know if anyone picked up on it, and I wished I'd it'd be on one of the, I think it was a yellow one. It was a two-seater, like a kayak.
I remember seeing two canoes parallel in the field.
And I thought, what are they doing there? Just randomly, just left there, and is all this subliminal, left so that it's, leaving trails and triggers? Are they doing it on purpose?
So there's two sides to that. One, I saw a very grounded person explain. I think it was the fisherman on, am I allowed to say Penny Bunny's channel? I hope so.
Yeah, we can mention any channel because I'm inspired by most of them. I've got a lot of respect for the channels. They brought me to this point. Without the channels, I wouldn't be here, brother.
Fantastic. So big up to Penny Bunny and everybody out there.
Yep. All the channels. Yeah. Everyone's got their own place and good points, haven't they? Whichever channel, and without them channels, I didn't get to this point. So
absolutely, I'm with you. Where were we at there, Daz? Which point were we dealing with?
Yeah, sorry, about leaving kind of trails for us to follow, leaving dots for us to pick up and trail, and almost like going on a treasure hunt.
Yes, so back
that's what it feels like.
Cluedo.
Yeah, it's like a Cluedo, and then we've got what's the lady's name who's actually head of covert operations?
Rebecca Smith.
And she's head of things like this, and it seems to me as if this has been written a long time ago. It's something planned, isn't it? It's something that hasn't just happened. If it was just happened and it was an accident, or it wouldn't be this difficult, I don't think. Maybe
very, very planned, very scripted. Just to answer your canoe questions, the gentleman, I think, was the fisherman or something like that on Penny Bunny's channel. He explained very categorically that in the winter, canoes are left in the fields, and in the summer they're used, and it's just kind of standard around there in a rural area. So I believe.
Okay, so that's debunked.
Well, that's the one explanation. It doesn't really have to mean that they weren't used in some sort of crime. They could have been, but
Or again, is it just like, you know, a trail, a breadcrumb? Someone Country Girl. Sorry, I'm problems with names. I'm dyslexic, so sorry about that, people. So names and words and spellings, I'm not the best at. So forgive me on pronunciations. But yeah, breadcrumbs. Good point. North
could
Country
be,
Girl. Mm,
exactly.
you know, is that because they've moved the goalposts as well, and who does that a lot? The government. They're always moving the goalposts, aren't they? You know, it's gone from it being it happened on the 10th of January. There was an investigation. We don't know if something, you know, happened at Paul's house. It's just what they're saying, a statement. Then it's moved to June, the inquest, and now in autumn they're going to reveal the outcome of the inquest, you know, when they're ready to disclose whatever they want to disclose at that point. So again, the goalposts are moved.
Correct. We saw that. We wouldn't have known much about that except we went through a recent experience humanity did for 3 years or so. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, everybody. It also begins with a C. And yeah, it was quite obvious in that, Daz, what you're saying. We suddenly learnt about political moving of goalposts and how it affects citizens and humanity in general, worldwide, really, in that case, the last 3 years, that case I'm talking about. So yeah, the goalpost is a signal, a sign that we're kind of in deep state. When you say government, it concerns me because let's remember the original government was there was a community, and the people who didn't want to sort of do the office work elected the people who did, kind of the rural people or the people who like to work the earth, that's myself, elected the people who like to push paper, and we sort of all worked together. That was a government. They governed the people. They were from the people, by the people, for the people, by the
Okay,
people, for the people.
that's how it used to be. It was all good
Yes,
back then. It was how
yes,
it should
sir.
be.
That's how it should have
Ca-
been.
Carry on.
And now, unfortunately, it's not like that, is it? Not only do we have MPs, governments throughout the world, not pointing any fingers at just the general system, this is how the system works. We not only have governments with MPs who are very different because the lower public, as they see us, the lower, because of pyramidical effect, call them the suits. So there's not just that level where there's kind of a corporate fight for money and gain of power, ego. We're talking about the next level up. We're not talking about the MP level even. We're talking about the people with the money, known to most folk out there as elite, deep
Yep.
state, that level of people who say who in place the policies. And if we
Yeah.
bring that to the top of the pyramid, just to finish
Yep.
that one off, you will come to politically the WHO and the WEF. So the World Health Organization and the World
Yep.
Economic Forum. And
Yeah.
that's where
And
we're sitting
Charles
politically.
is the head of the World Economic Forum as well. And I think we're heading into very dark times. And I started to think as well down the sacrifice line, you know, for Charles. I was like, well, could it be that, you know? And it's just my head was going in all directions. I was following what you were saying and picking up what Penny was saying, and a lot of this sounds far-fetched, doesn't it? But it does go on. I've looked online, and you can see yourself that people are being arrested for demonic activities. You know, Russia, big Russian. You know, so it does go on, doesn't it? They do it for power and spells, don't they? You know, the demonic side. Explain a little bit about that, please, Storm. About how this could happen. Let's say Nicola has been, you know, taken, and unfortunately the worst has happened, and it has been for some ritual. Why would that take place? And explain, please.
Wow. Excellent question, Daz. So we'll start. That's a massive area. Well, let's just start at the beginning, which you said was a
Okay.
good place to start. I think the Psalm 23 about principalities and power is part of it, comes into question here. What people don't realize, Daz, is that we are born into a spiritual war at the moment. It can be a spiritual peace. What I mean by a spiritual war, you are physically born in the physical body, you're birthed, and the soul has entered. We're not going to go into when, that's a discussion for another day. The soul has entered, and the vessel, the conscious vessel, is present on earth to be human and function.
I've actually got it up here as well, Storm, for people to see. Psalm 23. I believe that's the Lord is my shepherd, and that's the actual, from Psalm 23, which, funnily enough, some of this has been used, hasn't it? And
it
23
has.
again. Sorry, I lost your focus, so carry on, please.
That's okay. I'm not going to read it now. If it doesn't say principalities and power, that would be in another song. I'm not sure if it's in there, but principalities and power is what we're talking about. And when I say principalities and power, power is referencing human, and principalities is referencing ethereal, non-human, not meaning alien folks, meaning spiritually non-human, non-physical, that area of the world. Now, just before we enter this, we mean no disrespect to any religions, your beliefs, we respect.
Yeah, very open-minded, aren't we? We're not here to force our opinions on anyone. Everyone's got their own opinions. We know we're respectful to everything. I'm even respectful to the psychic abilities that are out there. There's all kinds of energies that I think people pick up on, and some people can channel it, some people can't. So we are open-minded, aren't we, Storm? We're not disrespectful to any religion or anything.
That's part of mind-blowing. Once your mind's blowing, it's very open. So we're very open-minded. Yes, very.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
So we're not being disrespectful. I'm just telling you my experience as I would sit with you and listen to yours and have to many. I've just, as a disclaimer, listened to a lady sit across from me and explain to me how God spoke with her and why she lives her life the way she does for the past 40 years, because God, the Christian God, spoke with her, the white-bearded God. And that I accept. That's okay. That's exactly what happened for her. I respect that, as if somebody told me a different God spoke with them. I would accept that. So I'm just talking in my experience.
Yep. Okay. So getting back to the point, for what reason, could and I know you've touched base on this on one of your last videos. You've even got a picture that does look like Paul, and I'm going to pull that up while you talk. What is that ritual that's going on, the Wicca Storm?
So just to connect and answer both those questions, Daz, for you, is that the ritualistic concept is to deal with the spiritual side, or the etheric side, the energy side, the non-physical side. So you ask, why do rituals occur in this world? Why do humans do rituals? Why do we have occults? Why do we have groups of humans feeling it necessary to continue ritualistic behavior involving sacrificial behavior, etc., and ritualistic behaviors such as following a calendar with ritualistic periods and sections and principles involved with it, dark principles. So what we're seeing there is the 2023 Imbolc ceremony in Lancashire.
Okay.
And it's a photograph of the people present. As I understand it clearly from the source, I believe that's accurate. Please, everybody, check everything you see here. Never take it. Ask questions. Never take it as given. Please come back to us with anything you find. This is a discovery channel. We need to find the truth, not tell you what the truth is.
Exactly. We can only go off what we've been shown, and then we have to put it together and try and come up with a conclusion.
Exactly. That's what we're doing. So yeah. So the reason why that photograph has come to our attention is obviously that looks in a vague form and manner like it may be possibly Paul Ansell. And the
Mm.
reason why is because it's in his area, it's connected with Imbol um, in 2023, and it's believed that PA is involved in Wiccan Masonic arenas. Let's leave it at that because I can't pin it down to anything other than that so far. The knowing
So
of this way, Masonic Wiccan.
okay, so basically, I mean, I've had an email myself, and they are saying that the area is very Masonic, and the church as well. We were talking about this the other day. The walk past the church, when the sky walked past, they mentioned 3 weeks. A few times now, we know the number three, is relevant to these people. Don't it's powerful numbers that are being used, like the 23 threes, and there's a lot of synchronicity with numbers. So, would this be sort of maybe a lot of people in the village that go to these, like an in club, maybe? I don't know if you've seen Eyes Wide Shut, that film at all by Stanley Kubrick. I don't.
Possibly, but I don't recall it, and I haven't gone and seen it yet. No.
It's okay. It's just very ritual. They do a lot of sort of, I don't like to, I have to be very careful how I mention this, but they have these very dark sex sessions, and they wear masks, and they're just rooms of just, just pure filth going on. And it's like a select club. And, that's something that you mentioned. Could it have been something where people in the village are going to these club meetings and they know each other, and that type of thing? There's so many possibilities. There's so many, isn't there? Really, that they're leaving open. It's crazy, but the evidence that's coming forward. I mean, this picture here, it really does look like Paul. I looked, and it does, but it might not be. We can't say. If it's not, it isn't. We're just here. We're just playing around with images, trying to have our own hypotheses, our own, speculations for you guys. Hopefully, it might help you guys as well. So that's what we're doing, isn't it? Just
I'm
chatting
glad
away.
I'm glad you used both those words, speculation and hypotheses, because that'll bring us on to later onto the digital psyop sector, and we'll speak
Oh
about that
yeah.
in detail. But
The AI, which, but let's stay focused. So the ritual, what would that have entailed? Is it because maybe she's seen something? Would they have done it that way, or is it just something that do they get picked? People, or then again, you talked about the body parts. Could it be something to do with, the selling of the so
right,
many different ways? Sorry,
right.
Storm, I'm firing questions at you left,
No,
right, and
it's
centre,
brilliant.
brother.
No, it's brilliant. Let's go. It's interesting to just to work with it. Just to say on the speculation and hypotheses, and scenario. Those are three words particularly used at the moment, and I'll show you how they're going to be used in the psyop sector later. But the reason why Daz uses them is to point out here that there is nothing else that's gone on here, because the speculation that was given to us was by the police or through the media. That's always how it happens. And it was speculation now, valid, evidented speculation, because it wasn't a real case. Because the witnesses that were given to us and the case that was given to us, both has now been physically retracted by the police and has been proved by investigative reporters, the big bad armchair detectives across the board. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's been proven that this is not what was given to us is not the truth. So the only thing we can begin to do is to speculate. There is nothing else we can do. What else do we have?
Exactly. And the timeline, I mean, the police, you know, these people that we trust, if the police can't get a timeline of events correct through phone calls and logging, which they would have logged, you know, they are changing it. They want. I understand that things can change. Maybe someone said they saw Nicola, and then they questioned him again, and well, was it Nicola? I'm not too sure. So that, you know, it's not. She's not a liable witness, or he's not liable. You know, not a valid witness. So maybe they have to. But why put it out in the first place if it's not? If it's not correct, why disclose it? What's the point? You know, I don't. That's a bit I don't understand.
But that's a good question, Daz. That's a really good question. Why? Come on, man. Everybody here is sensible, folks.
Yeah.
Why? How does a police investigation work? They simply, something occurs, they gather evidence from
Yep.
suspects and people around, witnesses, and they they gather evidence from witnesses, they look into suspects, and then they sort of solve it and they give you some information if they need some help. The general
Exactly.
Yeah, the general information is this was the location where this type of person went missing. They looked like this. And if you see anything, let us know. That's
That's the one.
normal.
You
That's
know, so
normal.
they log it, and even, you know, the it's just really bizarre. And I did show on me one of me videos how that they can track the phone as well. It can be tracked. So even the steps and from A to B, from point of A to B, can be tracked. You know, so these witnesses that they've questioned, they could look at their phone logs and see if they're actually correct to say, yeah, they were there. All these witnesses could be cross-referenced from
I
their
understand.
points off their phone. That's
Off
like
of the
wearing a Fitbit
right,
as
off
well,
of the
isn't it?
witness. Yes, off of the witness's phone. You mean, Daz? Yeah, the
Yeah,
witnesses have. Mhm.
everybody. They
They
can
have.
cross-reference their points where they were.
Yeah, they have a digital trace. No.
Yeah, digital tracking. Yeah,
Yeah,
the phone gets tracked like a sat nav. When you go into your Google history, you can see where you've been on your phone for months
absolutely.
back.
Okay, so we agree, I'm sure, across the board that there's something dodgy with the case, and everybody would start to ask, what is dodgy? And nobody really has that answer. But we have some proofs along the way. All of us, like different people across the YouTube board, yeah, all the fantastic people, and all the viewers, everybody, there's thousands of people across the board, like across the world, involved who have bits of information. Okay, so that's fantastic. We're all in like a world sort of investigation. It's
And they
really
made
good.
it international, haven't they, Storm? It's not just local. It's been promoted. You know, all the TV cameras, they've wanted it to go international. They've
Yes,
wanted it. If it was something, you know, let's say the police did mess up, the top dogs of the police, the top whoever would say, look, this needs to be shut down. You're looking bad. We cannot have the police looking bad. But they haven't,
no, the
have
police look
they?
great. The police look fantastic. They found the body. Everything's fine. They were right, weren't they?
Well, it wasn't the police that found the body, nor Peter Folding. It
Are,
was,
are you
you know,
sure?
Um, I'm not sure about nothing, Storm.
Nobody is. It's just a joke. But to be
Yeah,
a little
it is, mate. Bit of
light-hearted.
banter. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's good. You know, it's good to get relaxed and chat because, you know, it is mind-boggling. And you know, I think I don't know. I don't think we will ever come to the bottom of it until we start seeing things coming out like, well, that could be related to that. Let's say like the digital, like the AI, and you know, maybe if they start saying that because at the moment they're blaming the armchair detective sleuths and TikTok and all that for targeting the case, aren't they? Really, they're blaming
Yes.
YouTube.
Yes. So we're going to go into that deeply on the psyop side, but you're correct. On the psyop side, that touches
Well,
in there.
before we get to that though, let's get back. Sorry, took
Hmm.
us off focus. So, what would the ritual have been? With what's your thoughts on, you know, the murder side of things?
Right.
Because that's one of the points, isn't it? First
Absolutely
ones.
does. Look, folks, I don't like to point fingers anywhere, and I don't usually, as I've said all along, get into the investigative side. I usually just get into the sort of location side from a remote perspective. But for some reason, which we all seem to be discovering, we're going to find out why we're all involved. And what's brought us into this whole sort of thing. And what's brought me into it is emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And two of the emotions are primal. One's sadness and one's anger. And the anger is at who did it, why they did it, why they're still out there, why aren't they already prosecuted, why isn't there closure for the family if the family's real and exists? And again, we always say that with respect.
Yep. I mean, we do. And I mean, if the next door neighbour's been on some of the news channels and she's been, supportive of Paul, saying that he's a great guy. And, and also she says the neighbours feel the same way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, and I've said that there's not much investigating journalists anymore in this country, someone would have a whisper, wouldn't they? Someone would, if you saw something that was wrong and you feel you could contribute to the case, you would come anonymously and say, look, I know something. Something's not right in that family.
Yeah, I would certainly hope so, Daz.
You would hope so. I mean, even if they came they would get in touch with the news channels, wouldn't they? It's a big story for someone to disclose if they felt that something was wrong.
Yeah, true. There's often people investigative reporting, trying to catch out somebody on this and that and such like. Yep, yeah. Why isn't that happening? Why haven't the family come forward? Daz, I try to look at things realistically. Like if it was myself or anybody I know, their family, wouldn't you be like have a channel where you could talk to the world? I would employ somebody to let me talk to the world constantly.
Private investigator. I'm not happy with this. Of course. And they've always said, haven't they, that Paul said she's not in the river. She's not in the river. The Carter disappeared. This is not right. I don't believe the police's story. They don't believe the police's story, but they're quite happy to, soon as, they find the body, they're quite, she's found now. The police are right. Why would you do that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't want to jump into too much of the standard speculation, but what? Why? How? More like why than why?
Mm-hmm.
How would a body? Let's talk about it as a body again with respect. Disappear. Not act normally, like sink, be found, and respectfully buried or returned to its loved ones. Sort of made it over a sort of 2 or 3 inch at that time bit of water and gravel over a wall, down a stream 1 mile, and then not detected for 23 days, and then suddenly detected. Some stories are a little bit odd, like a little bit too far-fetched, no?
Yeah, it's all far-fetched. I mean, when Paul came on and he did his first interview, I was over at my mum's. I said he's guilty straight away, and that was his mannerisms, his per se, and I think everyone might have felt the same. And that's when I started to think this isn't right, because if we can see that, then why aren't the police having him on, a press conference where he puts himself in front of the public and he reaches out to his partner who he's absolutely missing dearly and wants her home? Anybody help? Normally they do. Why hasn't that happened?
Everything is abnormal. Let's establish that. Nothing seems just standard, emotional, real. No, like normal. Nothing seems normal.
No.
Okay.
It's not.
No, right. So that's established. So let's move into what the picture is up there with what we were told was Christine Bowman. And I refer to all of this like that because I don't have any evidence. I've never met them. I don't know them, any of these, even if they exist, these people. But
sorry, Storm, just before we go in, have you noticed how all the pictures with today's technology, why are all the pictures looking so low resolution?
Brilliant.
Why?
You tell me.
Shouldn't be. Even on our phones today, this picture, low resolution, the CCTV image, it's below 720p. And I don't know what the cameras are on these doorbells or whatever, but the police have got a facility to clean it up. We've seen it on crime stories, you know, even on drama shows. They put it through a program and it cleans it right up.
That's a brilliant point, that it's a very low resolution. Also, if you look at that pillar, looks like two different colors. One side's red and one side's not red at all. And it doesn't even look like bricks. Maybe you can
just
zoom in on the pillar.
There we go. That's a bit better. I don't think I can zoom in anymore on that one, Storm.
It doesn't really matter, Daz, because all of this is just a ploy. It's just look, that witness I already showed you comes from the movie, The Number 23 with Jim Carrey, the sequel to The Truman Show, which was Paul's comment, which was a breadcrumb. That was a major breadcrumb.
I like that word, breadcrumb.
Yeah.
Great point. Yeah, good. So this is it. You know, the dropping, aren't they? Breadcrumbs and Easter eggs and.
Just answer me something so we can ground this. How does a witness appear in a police statement in a case that is now international and then disappear? Because the witness before you does not appear in the police statements anymore. That's not a witness. She doesn't exist anymore. She vanished.
So why is the explanation of what actually happened? There's no explanation about anything. It's hearsay. They're not explaining anything, are they? They're not helping themselves for some reason.
Or are they? So that would move us into the ruse section of the triangle as to why you would be told a lie by the police. And that would be to gain time while you were then solving the case. You just needed to make sure the speculation was all on the river while you actually functioned on the deeper high-end, what you say, high-end case, what they're calling high-end case, or high-end crime.
That's another good point. I did think that myself, and a lot of the channels probably thought, they're just sweeping it under the carpet a bit. We've got COVID, covert police in now, and they're going to sort of investigate, just follow, because there has been cases I've known where they watch them for years afterwards, don't they? Until they can find proof, solid proof.
Yeah, just depends who you get on the case, isn't it? If you get a detective who's dedicated, then it kind of bites them, I think. Maybe it becomes personal, kind of like this case has bitten many people.
Have you seen this, Storm, as well? I think I showed you this. Nicola Bulley, husband gets arrested. This was released yesterday. Funny, this website's just appeared.
Yeah.
It's very odd.
So is it a psyop? Is that part of the false information sector? Is that part of the covert op? Or is this a reality? Is this part of the real thing? They've actually found some info?
I mean, just look at these links here. Nicola Bulley, husband arrested. You click onto it. Who's this for? This has been set up, hasn't it? And is it Rebecca Smith? Is it the one who's the covert? She also was head of what's her name? Isn't she? IT. That's other part of the force that she deals with, the IT section. I can't think what it's called.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The covert IT section, the high-end telecommunications, this whole section,
the internet and the data mining and the likes.
Exactly.
So Nicola Bulley, I'm just reading this. There are actually 21K subscribed, 100 views, 49-year-old man. What's this? Does anybody know? A 49-year-old man from Manchester and a 20-year-old woman.
So I was just going to go there. If anybody, have you got a link for that, Daz, for anybody out there who wants to check on
sorry.
this?
Let me just share that. Sorry. There we go, guys. I'm learning. I'm still learning about all
this.
Perfect,
mate. Just give them something to help us. If anybody can just check this out. I don't know what this is about.
Yeah, basically, let's look at it together.
Yeah, that's it, Jazz. It's a teamwork. That's what we're saying. We're a team. Across the world, there's a team of people that really want to know what the heck is going on here,
Yeah, definitely. It's great, And I've always said,
beautiful.
I think if the YouTube channels would all pull together at these panels of discussion, now and again with different minds and different brains, we'd have this. would have this
Yes,
in the bag, because we've all got,
yes,
you know, this is like, we're like a supercomputer in a way, aren't we? Just brainstorming. And that's,
yes.
unfortunately, it just sort of, I thought that's the way that it was going to work. You know, everyone working together. We got, you know, the foot soldier on the ground bringing us all the video footage and this and that. And then we got the armchair detective who was, you know, doing the police side of it. We got Michelle After Dark, Eddie Vinyl Breaks, fantastic. Everybody was down, you know, wanting the same thing.
It looks like it to me. It looks like you've got some really dedicated, wonderful people.
Without a doubt.
I can't mention you all because I don't remember your names.
I mean, there was Grizzly True Crime. She was one of the first ones I saw, because she had a good quality thingy, and she seemed to be in the know. She was as if she was talking to the family that were helping her to bring information that wasn't available. That's what it seemed like to me from Grizzly True Crimes. So I was
Yeah,
really drawn into Grizzly, but everyone's got their own way of doing their own
boom.
channels. No
That's it.
disrespect.
And
So
I
we're
just want
just
to
doing our
mention,
thing. So
that's it. I
can't
just
we?
want to mention Only Me out there. What's her thing?
Penny Bunny.
Unapologetically Me. Brilliant. I loved it. And Penny Bunny, of course. Just helpful channels that we come in contact with. But Daz has already mentioned. The point is, guys and girls, anybody we forgot to mention, sorry, we love you all out there. And the point is,
Scott Super Chuff makes me giggle. He's so, you know, he's just really, what you see is what you get, eh? You know, I wouldn't like to get on the wrong side of him, that's for sure. That's for sure.
what we're looking at is community. We want a team. We want
That's
everybody
it.
to pull together, stop
Yeah.
any what we call nastiness or bullying or fighting. There's no need for it. Let's just
There's enough
work
of
out
that
what
in the
happened.
world. Sorry, isn't the storm? There's enough of that in the world already. People
Daz,
divided, you know?
divide and rule is the plan. Everybody knows that. We can talk about the divide and rule plan, but we don't want that. We want community, unity. Let's come together. Let's sort it out.
Let's have a look at this. This I found really strange yesterday. So a 49-year-old man and a 20-year-old woman from Oldham has been arrested on suspicion of, is that malicious communication offences? Now, communication offences means...
Interesting. Telecommunication offences, digital offences.
Is that fraudulent telecommunications or...
Malicious communication, is that online or offline?
It doesn't really... A social media influencer...
social media.
Oh, has been arrested. Does anybody know about this? Let's just go back to chat. Let's have a look.
Or is that it, Daz? Is them launching on our day that we launch our triop, our Trinity, our explanation on the psyop? What is that, Daz? What is that sentence right there? A social media influence? Come on, Daz. We've been talking about this for the past few days.
Social media influencers being arrested on fire.
I'll just tell you what we're talking about, folks. Daz and I have been discussing the psyop side of the corner of the Trinity that we're explaining, the three options today. And the psyop side, folks,
carry on.
Yeah, the psyop side is leaning towards basically regulations across not just YouTube but across all the platforms, and the regulations would. Should we just go into this, Daz, while we're on it?
Yeah,
just
please. Oh, honestly, just go with it.
Flow with it. You good with that? Yeah.
Please. Yep, just go for it, brother.
Let's deal with the psyop side corner. We can jump around because I think they're all interlock in the end. We'll probably bring them all into the one cohesive idea in the end.
So yeah, let's getting back to this. This is very good. This has been released yesterday. So yeah, go for it, Storm.
Yeah, the psyop side. So look, folks, this is what we're figuring, what we've been chatting about. Slowly but surely, you're going to see what Daz just found here, and what he's showing here is that the powers to be, let's call them that, are going to attempt to push the regulations across the internet board, across the social media board. This, or at least part of this, was either premeditated, planned, or has been piggybacked, jumped on because it's become so big. It's an opportunist event. But the event,
Using it.
correct. But the event is the same. It's the psyop part of this. And the psyop is this: psyop meaning psychological operation. In other words, digitally set up coercive entrapment. So they've basically drawn everybody into the positions, us included, the thousands of people who attended St. Michael's on foot, the so-called TikTokers, I think they called them, the TikToker problem. So this kind of attitude towards humans going to places physically and being active online through whatever platform, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is not wanted by the police, clearly demonstrated here for the first time in this Nicola Bulley case. The reason why we would imagine the police carried out the not wanting of this behavior, i.e. the orders against people who attended and such like, comes from above, comes from the higher powers who are controlling the police, who are Masonic corporation. Obviously, the symbolism is in all of their hats and badgery. That it's obvious, that there's not a hidden factor. So coming from the higher power on the psyop side of things, what's happening is a control across the board online, just like there's a control across the board offline called legality or law, statutes, acts, the legal side that the police attend to in the normal physical world. Well, here we're about to get policed online. Simply us, the humans, the YouTubers, the armchair detectives, the criminal speculators. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I was just trying to find things, for those that don't know what psyops are. There's been a few massive ones throughout history, hasn't there? And a lot of people don't know about them. Sort of the World War I, II, they were psyops, without going into it. And then obviously the big one was 9/11. It was an inside job. It was to get the people what they do as well. And verify this with me, Storm. I don't know. They try and get the public on side with the situation to get their, agreement so that they can go forward with their agenda. It's another side of it, isn't it? So the 9/11 was to get the people on side so they could go bomb Iraq. Without 9/11 happening, if they just went and bombed Iraq and took over the poppy fields or whatever they wanted to do, then the public wouldn't be on side with them. So they blew up the Twin Towers, made it look like it was terrorists, and that was a psyop.
Perfect explanation.
Is that an example?
Perfect. That's a brilliant example of a psychological operation on the population, a lie, a basic lie that has, it's known as problem, reaction, solution. Okay, put forward by the great David Icke. This concept brought to the world, it was always out there, but just sort of banged home to us. These people, just like Daz explained, they create a problem. The problem is that in the story, the psyop, America was attacked by the big T word. So we just got to be careful. T-Rexes attacked America in aeroplanes, and due to that problem, we need a reaction, and the reaction is security, increase homeland security, protect us, we're under attack. Go and get the attack. Go and get the attackers.
Yeah, 7/7 as well. The London bombings, another one, another psyop operation.
Absolutely,
where to get it's mad. So in history they have happened. So it's plausible, isn't it? If they want something to get the public on side. Because can you imagine, sorry to butt in, Storm, just for an example, let's say that they were like, oh, well, we need to stop TikTok, we need to stop YouTube, all these armchair detectives, because they might actually stumble across the culprits in real crime as well. That's what they might not want to be. The criminals at the very top, they're worried in case YouTube actually stumble across and it could also be a data mining to see how far YouTube can actually get to the bottom of a crime. So
Those are
there's so many
excellent.
possibilities from that point, isn't there?
Those are both excellent points. So Daz is not talking about lower criminals, talking about the highest of people, like Masonics, elite
Mm-hmm.
that can control Google, etc.,
Which
control
comes
the.
back to your point, Storm, about it being a Masonic murder. So, I asked you about that, about how they could have used that. So that's to tie in there as well, isn't it? To see how we react, on a Masonic murder. Who reacts on a Sonic murder? Who reacts on a psyop? Who reacts on the police's side? Could there be data mining to see what population percentage actually are on which side? Kind of a survey as well, so to
Absolutely.
speak.
So brilliant, Daz. Brilliant point, mate. That is exactly where we're at, and brings us back to where we're talking about these general psyops, and the last one with the name C, etc. What you just said there brings in AI question, and of course that's IT comes into that, the IT covert sector.
which when you said about Nicola Bulley looking all very IT photographed, could have they all been put together? Have they been setting the stage imagely?
That's
Putting the images out there.
that is of course quite possible. They don't look real. I mean, we would be forgiven for thinking that. They just don't look like normal photos, do you? I mean, do
The,
they? I mean,
the, no, the
they're
lighting
odd.
and everything. So it's just crazy. So yeah, just getting back to the point about the ritual. So if she has, for the worst case, the worst could have happened. How can Paul be so out of his composure? How he is? He's been. How long was he with Nicola for Storm? Was it 12, 13 years they were together?
I believe, I'm not sure. I believe 12, 13. Again, we go by the reports, don't we? If
It
we
once,
just,
I think 13
yeah,
sounds,
it sounds either one. They
you
both,
know, just a 13 number. It fits. But
yeah,
yeah, I think it could be 12.
they both have their sides. For me, I understand a great deal about 13 and 12, but we'll deal with that another time on numerology or something like that. We'll do a show on that one.
Yeah, we've got so much to talk about, and we're flip
Oh,
flopping from one thing. We're trying to, but it's good. We're just brainstorming, chatting how we are, just as if we're, together and we're just chatting in a room, and you guys are listening to our chat.
it's
We're just,
brilliant. Let's
exploring.
Yeah, let's jump back to the psyop side of the triangle, just to wrap in the AI there, and where we're going with this, which is going to bring in Charles as well, which you brought in before, King Charles and the coronation and the new King Charles involved in this. And I
Well, we
say
got
that
some great. Sorry,
lightly.
we got some great people in chat. The
Oh, good.
comments that they're saying, they're really, really nice to have. People. I mean, we've only just set this up, haven't we? So
Yeah.
we didn't know how it was going to go.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Sorry if I forget to relate to you out there. I'm just deep into the knowledge to sort of express it.
Yeah, you've
Daz
got
will
some.
keep us connected.
Yeah, you've got some really nice comments coming through,
Oh,
brother.
thank
So
you.
you better watch this back and have a look and see. But it's nice to see there's some love in the house, which is nice.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. And back at you, folks. Thank you. Fully,
So
full respect.
so yeah. Sorry, I lost your focus. So you were on about the AI and the psyop. You seem to be mentioning that quite a lot. I've noticed. The psyop seems to be on the front of your mind a lot of late,
Yeah,
especially with the
yeah.
23.
It's becoming more and more obvious, but let's not forget who runs a psyop. We're not slipping away from the original Masonic ritual or the cultic ritual. We know what occurred. If this person is real, we have figured out basically through the team across the whole world have figured out ritualistic events occur, candle mass occurs, a Masonic ritual occurs. I don't want to use the word satanic, but people know it as that. This type of behavior occurs by individual psychopaths, couple psychopaths, group psychopaths. So sadly, we have in this world this side of things, and we don't want to accept it and deal with it, but it's here in our face. So
unfortunately, it is, and there seems to be the higher you are in the system, a lot of the presenters and that they seem to. I mean, a lot of the music producers as well. You know, they feel that they sell the soul to the devil, and they have more power, and that type of thing. So, it seems to be the buzz thing of late, doesn't it?
okay, so
And it's in your face now, isn't it? A bit more than what it used to be.
right, so the Illuminati is the
Yes,
sun and the club that everybody, all the celebrities are connecting into. The one eye, the black eye club, the one eye club, this where they cover their eyes and the certain eye. And let's just explain that so it's understood.
please.
They always cover the same eye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The reason why they cover the eye is that they're hiding information. So
I'm just going to try and find something while you're chatting. Which is it the right eye or the left?
the left eye of Horus.
Okay, and that's the god, isn't it?
Okay, so Horus is the sun in Egyptian mythology. Horus is the son of Osiris and Isis, who are your kind of two deities at the top of the pinnacle, and it's their son. So in Egyptian mythology, they would equate that story to a god and goddess, and the son Horus is equivalent to the son Jesus in the Christian understanding.
I've got the share up, and it's on the dollar bill, and it's always been there. It's plain sight, isn't it? With the eye at the top of the pyramid. If you're at the top of the pyramid, that's where you want to be. I've got it up. I'm sharing it now. So, is that right, Storm?
Sure. So
The dollar bill. For a good point.
absolutely, the Illuminati control the money of the world, obviously through the 13 families. I think the Rothschilds are particularly involved in that one, and the Rockefellers, and
Yep.
we know all about that. Would you
The
like?
Jews.
Sorry. Would you like me just to explain the three eyes, because it's very important, I think. Yeah.
Please carry on, Storm. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, not at all. It's fantastic, mate. I'm just looking at your pictures and I'm seeing different eyes. I don't know if people are focusing on that.
If there's one you want me to bring up, just shout.
No, they're all good. They're all good. They're all
Fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah.
That the Freemason, the Masonic. That is. Let me just see if I can make this bigger, because this.
Yes, that's a good one.
All these adverts, it's absolutely ridiculous. It never used to be like this. The internet didn't.
That's
Never
true.
did. It's just how we're living, isn't it, today? So carry on, Storm. Ask me something that you're after, and try and find a photograph to show.
It's all good. That one's good. That one's good.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it on big screen. 1 second.
No, it's all good.
Is that one big enough for you there? Is that one okay?
Yeah, it's
Can you
fine.
see that? Let me zoom in a bit. There we go. There we go.
Bro. So we got these three eyes. Everybody has a left eye and a right eye. Gives us bifocal lens. And then we understand that's in the biological world, in the normal human world. Then we understand in the ethereal world or the spiritual world, we have they reference it from ancient Egyptian understanding as a third eye. And they refer that third eye understanding to the pineal gland in the center of the head.
Yep. And as you said to myself, it's actually the first eye, isn't it, really?
Exactly.
It's the main eye.
Exactly. So in another explanation, so we don't get too lost in that world, we'll explain exactly the mechanism of the functioning of the trilogy, of the trinity, of the three eyes, being the first eye, the second and third being your bifocal lens and the projection of your reality, as opposed to looking at your reality like a camera, filming your reality. It's not how the rods and cones and the eyes work. But just to get to the ethereal and esoteric side of the eyes, this Horus, the side of the eye of Horus, and this before us. The eye of Horus has the left eye of Horus. Now, the left eye of the body is the left side of the body and refers to the right side of the brain, because the brain crosses over hemispherically. So the right side, excellent picture. Now look at that picture.
Katy Perry as well. And she's supposed to, was she at the Charles concert?
I didn't get involved in that. I didn't look at it.
Yeah, she was. She was one of the guests.
I believe so. I just heard from my partner. She was. So you see that's the left eye. That is the Illuminati, the eye of the Illuminati, the elite, the celebrity club that a lot are involved in, with this winking at you with this one eye closed. And they use their hand to cover their eye and various things like that. I won't
in
do
plain
it now.
sight. In plain sight as well today, Storm. It's on T-shirts for the kids. The kids are down with it now. It's Illuminati, the eye. And they did say, didn't they, when it was time to come out, that they would come out and disclose it. And we're into the new age now, and and Charles is taking over, and we're entering into a dark age, I believe, and a lot of things. I think things are going to change.
Dazza, you're absolutely right. Fashion is neuro-linguistic programming. The fashion is shirts with symbols, signs, and philosophies across the clothing, so that it affects people constantly. Reading T-shirts is something that a lot of people do, I guess. It's right there in your face. I don't know if you saw the recent one that came out just before the big plague. It came out in 2017, I think it was. And the new fashion was launched, the new label called Obey.
Let me have a look at that.
O-B-E-Y, Obey. As in, you will obey our instructions in all that we're going to tell you on our C agenda that is to follow, which most did obey.
Okay, let's have a look. Is this it?
That's the brand.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Well, big and bold, eh? You will do so.
Wow, I've not seen this before. I really haven't. So, and with the eyes as well. There.
Oh man.
Oh, look at that one.
Oh yeah. Oh, there we go, eh?
Wow. Wow, and the kids are down with this, and it's like, I want to be part of it. Or promotion for them. And it all helps with the spell, doesn't it? I mean, if you go somewhere like Katy Perry's concert, or even Rihanna, she's massively into it. And who's the other one? I can't think. My mind's blank. But they use spells, don't they? They class it as spells. That gives them more power as well in certain situations.
What are spells, Daz? Spells are how we spell words, spelling. So the spell before you is O-B-E-Y. It's a spell. It says obey, and it has a principle that you will do what that commander of that command says. Obey. You will obey me. it's kind of a God status, isn't it? You will obey me. It comes from a God, but biblical sort of attitude. Obey does come also from authority in general. Obey, teacher, police, government, regulations, authoritative figures across the board.
Wow, I mean, it's just in plain sight. So, do you think, getting back to, I know we've touched base on psyop, but getting back to the murder scenario, would the police have shut that down though, Storm, or would they still be carrying it on and like turning it into maybe a psyop? Or do you think Nicola was in the river and they pulled her out, or that was just part of the movie, wasn't it? That was part of the movie. All that, I'm sure of it. I
have to speak from what I know. I don't want to speak from what. And what I mean by what I know is from the information present and given. and the information present and given, and you asked me earlier what got me into this, right back to the beginning, was the information given. This is the information, this is how the case worked, and this is probably what happened, or this is how I feel what happened, or this is what I remotely view what happened, according to the information you give me. And let me just explain that. In remote viewing, if you believe it or not, it doesn't really matter. It's been used for a long time and very successfully. Yep. You are given some information, and then on the basis of the information, you make a prediction or give a coordinate or give information of actions occurring or objects at that place. That's basically how it's given. You give information of the scene or what's happening at a scene that's remote, that's not near you. Now, that's fully functional and fully possible. And a lot of people have been using remote viewing for a long time. But
didn't sorry interrupt, but didn't the AK Ultra and that started to experiment it years ago with two people in different rooms with the ESP cards? They were actually putting them in different rooms and they were getting the cards correctly when they started to. Is that right?
Correct. That's a MK Ultra activity or experimental ESP. It's an MK Ultra experimenting with ESP. Correct. That's exactly right.
So it has been proven, just as well in a certain degree, that remote viewing, that we are connected as subconscious beings. And I think that's why we're divided. But just getting back to the point, I think we are connected, Storm, very much so. Some people are more acute to it when you're in a room, the vibe, if you're picking up on something. But I think they've dumbed this down. So, yeah, I think remote reviewing is 100%. I think it does exist.
Yeah, absolutely does. And the thing is, the point of it is it functions off of some information. You don't just remote view nothing. You generally get a set of information and asked to remote view something. Now, that relates to the case. When you're given a case and the case study, you can access and remote view off of the information. But if the information is false, for example, if you particularly said, I'm going to pop off to Scotland, I just would like you to tell me where I am, but you're actually in South England, it's not going to work. Right. I'm not going to remote view you correctly because you're asking me to look in the wrong place. It's like I say to you, I'm going to hide something in the bedroom. Then when you come and say, where is, I go, oh, it's in the lounge. You're never going to find it in the lounge because I hid it in the bedroom.
Okay, so it's not accurate, is it? You couldn't use it as, say, let's put Jason in the picture and he's found Nicola. It would have to be the chances of that happening, him driving all that way and think, well, I've just picked up Nicola Bulley, she's in the river, I'm going to go down and show you where she is. What's the percentage of that happening in a remote reviewing situation?
It's very real. It's absolutely valid. It's 100%. It's 100% real in a remote viewing situation. Whether it's 100% real in a Jason Rothwell situation is completely another story.
Okay.
But remote viewing without any information is not remote viewing for anybody but yourself, because you haven't been asked, you haven't been given information. So you yourself could access, and this goes into past over life, passed over. So a soul that's passed over can quite easily access a loved one, give them some information, and they can go and find them. There's tons and tons of cases and studies on this. It's very, very known if you look into this arena.
Mm-hmm. Is it something? I mean, getting back to Jason, you know, it's. What's your thoughts on that? Knowing your knowledge on that, what's the possible? What's the percentage possibility? 50-50?
Okay, I can only speak from myself and my
Sorry.
experience. And
Okay.
this, no, it's perfect. And this comes right back to the beginning. My experience is the same experience I've had right from the beginning in all my videos all along, even though I've privatized them now, because some of the beginning ones, the first ones, simply because my information outputting from me was based on the information inputting from the police and media, which wasn't correct. So how are you supposed to make a correct assumption? So we started again once we knew that the witnesses had dissipated and were false, and tried to work from there. And to answer your question directly, one can remote view on emotion. It is an empathic connection. One enters an empathic state. I generally understand it that a soul needs to connect with another soul, and it's generally because of love. In other words, family connection, usually like that.
Okay. So let's say Nicola, she, you know, she fat and whatever happened to her. Is there a time frame of sort of the soul, the connectivity being um, stronger, or is it something? If you understand what I mean, Storm, is it
Absolutely.
something? I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I
Trying to say
understand you. I
is
understand you
Jason,
perfectly.
you know, is Jason, you know, could that have happened at that point when she's been in the river for so long and her soul had passed, whether she's in limbo or gone, her energy's gone to the ether, to the source.
Again,
I'll call it the source.
yeah, excellent. Again, I'll speak on my experience.
Yep.
When a soul desperately wants to communicate with this side and they've passed over and they don't have a family member involved, they seek what is known out there as mediums and psychics to give a message to, and ask them to give a message to somebody else. So that's where the medium psychic thing comes in, the alternative sort of non-family connection. Because you'll find often when you speak to families who have had somebody pass over, they have a private experience. A light switch goes on off, or something that's very significant. Souls are very compassionate once they pass over, regardless of how, and they like to make it right with the side, the loved ones, the family. But as I say, sometimes that's not possible, the connection, so they use what you call mediums and psychics, these channels, and that's
Hmm.
a very difficult and strange area, because it's open to a lot of manipulation and nonsense.
Yeah.
There is a small, valuable section of people that are in this, and a lot that are charlatans. So,
Yeah, that's a good point. Charlatans, you know, that's a valid point. That is, and I would believe. I think not believe. I think if I was one of those, I think I'd be very private. I don't think I'd want the attention, because I'd want to keep me. So I want to keep everything positive, and if I would imagine you're in tune, and you don't want to upset that tunage of, you know. But Jason seems to love the attention. He's flip flopping between, he believes in reincarnation, and then he doesn't believe in reincarnation. But he could have developed over the years. He was younger when he said it. Now he could think it's possible. Would a psychic believe? Can they swap and change the beliefs
uh,
from your knowledge?
Yeah, so excellent. Here's the question, isn't it, Daz? I mean, like, what is going on there? In 4.5 years, you completely contradict your psychic beliefs. And we're not talking about a child. I think he's 33. Am I accurate?
I'm not sure. I don't
So,
know. If
so
anyone knows, please let us know.
thank you. So only 4.5 years ago, he's only 29 or so, you know, when you make that comment, or 28. So you're not a child.
It's not long ago. We can remember the CV, can't we? The big
just
thing that's happened. Time's so fast today. It seems like yesterday. 4 years does.
So that seems a bit of an odd cop out if you say that. Oh, I just changed my mind. And if you
Mm.
don't say that, what are you saying, mate? Really? Like, what are you saying?
What's changed his mind?
Well, more like, what are you saying? Because yeah, you're saying you don't believe in reincarnation, and yeah, you're saying literally out of your own mouth that in your reincarnated state you murdered a woman and hid her body. Yet just over here you say
Just had
you
a
don't.
shiver when he said that, because I brought that up in my video and I showed it and I thought he was on about Thomas, and I nearly went but I threw it over to you because I thought I was hoping you'd pick up on it, and you did, because he did say that he was, and just explain how do you want me to play that bit, or should we just chat about it?
Yeah, it's up to you. If you have a look at, I'll chat about it. Edward
You chat
Thomas
first
Lee.
and then
Edward Thomas Lee. That was the reincarnated soul he refers to. So just in case nobody knows what we're talking about, Jason Rothwell refers to himself in a video on Facebook publicly as he talks about his reincarnated. He talks about reincarnation, utilizing water. He has a jug of water and a glass of water in front of him. He's using them as the explanation. That's all fine and dandy. It's element water. It's elemental, no problem. And then he's explaining reincarnation. Of course, 4.5 years ago, he's categorically told us he doesn't believe in reincarnation. And now he's talking about himself in the second person as a reincarnated soul, and he's talking about his past life. So sort of next to him here is his past life. Edward Thomas Lee, who used to be married to Vera Lee and had a mistress, and if I understand the story correctly, murdered his partner Vera Lee so he could be the mistress. I understand that's how it was. And he was done for manslaughter, and he was a very real person in the correct date to be his past life, just a few, a certain amount of years ago, 1 generation ago. But
Let
that's
me just see if I can just bring this up 1 second.
It's a very strange thing to be saying, really, that even if there wasn't the past life connection, even if there wasn't the I don't accept reincarnation, I don't believe in reincarnation, even if both those factors are ejected and there's simply what he stated, it's very strange that the guy that found so-called Nicola Bulley's body 3 months later sits on YouTube publicly and talks about finding murdering a woman and hiding her body. That's odd.
Yeah, carry on. I think I've got it, but it is very odd. And let's just see if this is if I can find it. So he does.
Why would you
doesn't he?
do that? I mean, what are you
Um,
doing to yourself? What are you doing? Are you sensationalizing? Are you attempting to gain attention? Because you are, but the incorrect attention from kind of the wrong side. I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm sure you don't want investigations and authority all over you, but I mean, what do you? That seems.
Should we just play this bit and just show?
I think so.
Okay, so
he committed murder.
So he committed murder. It was funny how he put it. He said, "Yeah, I don't think the police actually believe in put the thing in my pocket that shouldn't." It's been brought up into because I was saying as well about how the police don't seem to want to use the people with psychic abilities, and someone said in the comments that it could be put in my pocket by a ghost. It was a bit of a same comment, but I understood where they were coming from. The case, and it's funny. Let me just get back to found and where are we?
Understand.
Here we go.
My previous incarnation, he took life. He committed murder.
Oh, there we go. So he was saying there, wasn't he, that he committed murder is past. If you want to explain from there.
If you let that play just a little more,
Yeah, 1 second. Let me go back to it.
a few more seconds.
Yeah. Okay, so he's on about his old life. This is really odd. I'm watching this in real time with you guys as well. Usually I'm into things like this. So
will return to be Rashi Elohim Adonai.
Sorry,
It's
it's
okay.
not very good, but he does say that he, in his past life, he was Thomas Edward Lee. Was that correct?
Yes. Just going to plug in here so we don't lose power.
And he started to go on there, and he was saying some really odd words, and I stopped it there because it did freak me out a little bit, Storm. So I couldn't really watch any more of it, to be fair, because I just went over my head why he was saying these words on camera that no one would really relate to. It was almost like a spell type thing that was happening.
Yeah, he's referencing Arabic words. It's beyond Arabic. It's going back to Aramaic. You'll find these days a lot of people, and all due respects, but try to imitate somebody they're not. So in this guy's case, he's trying to imitate and I believe he's kind of has a soul influence of an ancient medieval sorcerer, and he's kind of in that world. Yeah.
So would you say with his tattoo as well, and I'm not going to go searching it, but it's there if you want to go see it, explain that tattoo as well. Because I mean, I was hoping you'd pick up on it, and you did straight away.
Yeah. All the tattoo that he has is the pentacle or pentagram. It's a 5-pointed star. It's standard Wiccan. And just to say, no religion is completely good or bad. We have yin and yang, good and bad, negative and positive, left and right, throughout the duality. Okay, so there's no judgment on anything.
There's a tattoo as well, Storm, if you want to use that as your reference.
Right. So the 5-pointed star in a circle is basically what's known as a double vector. So it's two vectors or a 5-pointed star. And his is colored in and it has a round circle in the middle, which is a little bit of a personal thing. It's not usually colored in with a round circle in the middle. And that could be a reference to the eye, the Illuminati eye.
Okay.
Often in those little open spaces of the star, which are colored in, usually or often are little symbols, but they may be colored over or there may not be symbols there. But yes.
I think I did show some here that you picked up on. And
okay, so right there, that's excellent, Daz. If you go up to the top let's go to the left where the blue star is, the big blue. Now that's a 6. Okay, that there is not what we are talking about. That is a 6-pointed star, what's known as the Star of David. You'll find it on the Israeli flag.
So that's okay. That's fine. It's just normal, that one, in a way.
What it relates to is the third dimension. It's a third dimensional tetrahedral form, geometrical form. It's called a tetrahedron. So if anybody wants to know, it's one of the polyhedrons in sacred geometry, and it's a tetrahedron. But that's not what we're referring to. We're going to sacred geometry another time. There's forever on that. If you go where your cursor just was on the correct 5-pointed star. That one. Yeah. Just go up there. You got it.
That one.
That's it.
It looks like the Star Trek emblem on there, and also NASA use this a lot.
Right. So that's a double.
Sorry.
It's a double vector. So that's the 5-pointed star. That's a pentagon or pentagram or pentacle, depending on what it's in or how it is. Now, that form is used in white and black magic.
Okay, that's the bad side.
Right. It's used in both, and very, very much probably the form, geometrical form, most used in ritualistic ceremonies.
Okay, so that's getting back to, the connection of Jason, the murder, the sacrifice, horrible thing to be talking about, but there's a lot of connection down that road, isn't there? With the
Yes.
numbers 23. There's a lot of other things like the lady in red. And red's a big sign as well, isn't it? For if you're into that red means something. You've got Kay Burnley from Sky. She had a red jacket on. You got Lady in Red, one of the witnesses. You've got this could be coincidence. I'm not saying this is anything. It's just things I spot, and you probably do as well, Storm. Peter Falding as well. All his equipment was red, and
The red bricks.
the red brick wall that's been. Nicola Bulley was behind a red brick on one of the photographs with the Children's Society.
All the interviews were done in the same red brick room. All the interviews with all the people.
That's another thing, that I was really shocked about that as well, to think that the family have all sat down together with you'd know, wouldn't you? I mean, we'd know from family to family if there was something not right. You can pick up on it, can't you? Would your mum and dad go and sit with someone else's I don't know. Why haven't they done it in their own home like usual? Did they do the place?
That's the question. And that place is Marsh Farm. So all the filming was done on Marsh Farm, on Emma White's place. No.
Yeah, it was all done there, and they even changed the furniture to make it look a little bit different. They had the parents on the wooden seats around the table. Paul was like the star of the show on the red settee, sat back, all chilled, nothing going on here. And they rearranged it to subliminally make it look a little bit different until you realized it was in there. Knowing it's as if they've dropped these breadcrumbs for us to pick up and scrutinize it. The CCTV video, they put it out there for us, people like Super Chuffer, to analyze it, to rip it to bits on purpose.
Right, exactly. And we must just remember that I think somebody's just checking out. Can you see the chat there?
Yeah, is everything okay on the stream? Sorry, I've just
good. Now I'll just carry on, but somebody's saying, can you see the chat?
Yeah, sorry, I can. And sorry guys, if I'm trying to put banners on, I'm trying to focus on Storm, keep him
I'll just chat.
Yeah, you go, bro. Yeah.
Just check what's up there. Yes, just to remember, it's not just Marsh Farm is not just owned by Emma White. There's also another EW there, and no disrespects, but that's Ed White. So she has a partner, obviously.
They're not married anymore, sorry, are they? I've heard.
Yeah, I don't want to go into what is and isn't out there because I don't know. So I just don't know.
Don't. No.
But what I did hear or get information, it's not here. I got an email information about this and corroborated it, so it's correct. As far as I understand, of course, it may be written incorrectly or false information, but it seems correct. And what it says is Ed White works at a hotel. I believe he is the general manager or managing director of the hotel. I believe the hotel is Pancras Hotel. I stand to be corrected on the name, but it's something
what
like
a name. What a name.
Well, if that is correct, that's a bit odd. But the guy who has the royalties to that same hotel is Dan Walker and a penthouse at the hotel.
Penthouse, Pentagon.
Yeah, so that is all a bit odd. And you start to find these connections between all the players involved here in this big game, and it starts to look more and more odd.
Very, and then you've got because when it came out about the businesses, the freight businesses, red flag straight away. Well, what are they up to? Because we all know about importing, exporting children, and all the Russian children. Russia's supposed to have Iraq's children, and all that's been subliminally dropped into it, and all that racket's going on. And then could it be Nicola's seen something? And he didn't want it to be disclosed. But it all gets back to Paul's, the way that he is. If you lose your partner, how can you sit there unless you're a cold-hearted person? And would Nicola have picked up on that after 13, 12 years?
Yeah, so that comes back to speculation. I mean, I don't know any information, but from everything that's been given out there and a sense of it, it seems like she should have been on her way, like leaving.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie's great. He's put a lot of time into this, and these channels that, we know what it's like. Just putting this together, it eats away at your time, researching, watching videos, the research again. And another thing I thought about, are these sort of doing a test to see if they could use the YouTubers as detectives to take the budget off the police? Because we seem to be doing more work than the police. We could solve this case. Well, 3 weeks ago.
Brilliant. So that's got two factors. One, you could see that positively, couldn't you? And the police could then access YouTubers, armchair detectives, in inverted commas, to assist with what they thought, just their intellectual input on a case, their case study. That would be useful. Yet they seem to be going the opposite way. They seem to be saying it's a negative thing, it interferes with cases. And
true.
And that, of course, is going to push towards regulations to authorize on that, which is what we were referring to earlier.
Oh, definitely. I've when you think about it, the only thing that they're not controlling at the moment is YouTube. They've got the they've got the journalists, what do they call it? Investigative journalism. That doesn't happen anymore. They've shut that down.
True.
YouTube, we seem to be, sort of solving crime. The Watch case got solved by a detective, or apparently something triggered something and got investigated. And could this be an actual psyop to see what's going on YouTube? To they've done maybe the waxing to see social distancing. Maybe now they need to do it on the YouTube side of things. Control this side.
So I agree with you completely, but in the negative, as in the control of YouTube will be to shut down the voices of truth, like we are presenting right now, and any investigative information that could lead to actually solving a real case, due to the fact that the people in charge of both YouTube and all the platforms and doing the ritualistic side of things don't want themselves to be investigated by
it's like a spell, isn't it?
By truthful people. They want to be investigated by nobody. They don't want to be investigated. They want to be investigated by themselves. They want to self-investigate.
They've never been the wording that they've said, it's all been left open, hasn't it? Like the interview Paul did, we just came out with a dictionary of words, how we felt. No emotional attached to it. Someone's just put an interesting comment. I'm gonna have to say it, Storm, but
please
someone they said that hurt. I'm surprised no one's taken the bench and sold it on eBay. Love it. Respect, brother. That's that's good. That's what we love about this channel. Anything like that, just drop it. Hey, it's all about having fun as well.
That hurt.
Imagine it. It's just gone. Who's took the bench? That's the next thing. Oh, nice, drop that. But why? I mean, that's just a public liability. Someone falling in there. If Nicola's falling, why hasn't anyone else over the years? It's the obvious things, isn't it?
So just really to carry the AI a little further, because we were left off there at the
the AI, that's interesting. So let me just you carry on. I'm going to put in AI to see what comes up in Google, see what if the shadow banning things. It's interesting, this. Brilliant. Carry on, Storm.
Yeah, so we got to the point of AI. AI is going to basically be the technology that's going to run the regulation. And let's just be direct what regulations we're talking about, because we keep getting to just that point. The regulatory ban that's going to come across the band, like the wavelength, the regulatory body or regulations that are going to come across YouTube are social crediting systems.
Yes, like China.
We've already seen in China the social crediting system is up and running on the 5G smart grid and wasn't available before it was up and running on that grid. So without going any further terminology down those lines, we'll refer to it on that grid. On that grid, on a smart grid, you can utilize AI technology across all platforms to control in a format called social media control social crediting system. And as you know, social crediting is if you're naughty and you get your wrist slapped, you're going to get a few points taken off, like sort of driving without or driving off after having a few drinks. You get some points taken off, which I don't, I'm not for at all. I think it's insensible driving, drinking and driving. But on a social media side, it'll be the same thing. If you commit a small offense, you'll be fined. If you commit bigger offenses, you'll be fined more. And it's all social media crediting or discrediting. So you will have debit or credit on your social media. And that leads into your real world and affects you in forms of where you can go, when you can go there, what transport you can use, etc., etc. And this is functionable and live and in China, and it's on the way here. And no fear about it, but it's just to stand up and resist it across the board. It's on the way here under the form in a company called Circo. So
Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, they're doing it in China, and for those that don't know, like Storm just said, it's going to be how you can go and buy stuff today on your Clear Score credit scoring. It's going to be on your social score. So if you're a good person, that gives you credit as you grow. You know, through and if your partner's got a bad credit, social credit, that gets deducted off your credit. And is that something that's sort of coming in from your experience and knowledge? Is that around the corner, Storm? Is it?
well, that's definitely come in, and it's very obvious because the same company we referred to there, Circo, was the company that controlled the sea experience over the past few years since 2019. They covered the what you call TNT, track and trace systems, and they utilized that as a test system for social crediting on how you're going to respond to authority online telling you what to do, i.e., are you going to obey or not? And how, in what majority are you going to disobey, and how much biological real policing is going to be necessary to control the masses? Or can we do it via a psyop online, just control them by authoritative fear instead of actual biological fear, like somebody telling you what to do? No,
Yes.
it's just information, but you
It's,
are behaving.
I see. So you're going to want to do good, or else you're not going to be able to go and buy your cars or get your mortgages, because otherwise that's already happening in China, isn't it? It is something that's been running for a while, I believe, in
Forced
some parts of in the
cooperation.
States.
Forced cooperation.
And obviously, as well, I've noticed I uploaded something on YouTube the other day, and it was just something about I wanted to show an example of staged an event, and I used 9/11, and it was just a clip off a news. It was nothing, and it said it was hate speech, so it got pulled. And Purple Fairy said, it won't be criticised, have an opinion, it'd be classed as hate speech on social media. That's what you're saying, isn't it? Really, as well, about the how it's going to be, used. This could be used to bring in, a new community guideline, so that we can't talk about people's personal information on YouTube like we've done with Nicola Bulley and Paul. It won't be allowed.
Correct.
Sorry to diverse. I've digressed a bit. It's just with that coming up there, Storm.
No, that's it. That's exactly it, Daz. We're on it, mate. That's basically it. That's the purpose. That's the grounded purpose of this. They don't want families injured by speculation. Nobody does. It's kind of like bullying online social media bullying. If that could all just evaporate, then everybody could just be decent. And if you don't agree with something, just don't comment, then it'll be cool. Everybody be neutral or positive. There'd be no negativity causing psychological, emotional, and physical harm in the end, because people are committing suicide due to these damaging online attacks, which don't need to happen. But you can never have that in reality, because You could never have a crowd outside perhaps Nicola Bulley's house giving a biological attack, but online you can.
That's just reminding me of something, Storm. Why didn't, like with any kind of case, why wasn't the cameras outside Paul's house waiting for him? Because he, you know, why weren't they there? He's been protected, hasn't he, all the way through?
Yeah,
You know, he's had, you know, there's been offside interviews, has there? He hasn't been approached by any other. It's all been controlled, even to the point of the interview. He hasn't been able. The only one he did was when he was outside by the river. Say it's a river. It's more like a stream compared to America. But yeah, he was there, and you know, he was dressed up. He had like a, you know, he was. It's just amazing case, isn't it? And the thing is with this channel, so we're going to talk about other things, aren't we? It's not just going to be Nicola Bulley. This is just the launch.
Absolutely,
the launch really for us.
We're just trying to put our helping hand in here, get this worked out, whichever way it is, and then we move on to incredible amount of topics and subjects that are mind-blowing. And just to say, you beautiful folk out there, if you've got something you'd like us to discuss, a topic, give it to us. We'll mull it over, research it, and discuss it. Equally, if we're not responding tonight satisfactorily to the chat and to you folk out there, we apologize. It's just the first test run, and I'll kind of get used to it, and we'll get a moderator, and we'll try and get somebody to help out. But what we will do is
that's something, moderator.
is afterwards we'll go back and we'll read the whole chat. I will personally as well, and we'll answer all your questions and put it into some format and deal with it. So I apologize if we're not answering you now.
That's a good point as well, moderator. If anyone wants to be a moderator, everyone's been so respectful, Storm, and I found that a lot on my channel. I can't, you know, I don't understand these trolls. Do you, brother? Do you understand? Are they bots? Is that what they are, or are they actual real people?
I'm not too au fait with IT. That's your side, but what I've heard, I'm not really sure. I don't know how it works in the evil world, mate.
But the red van as well. Someone's mentioned a red van, so they dropped it there. Red van, red again.
Yes.
So you know, good point. Who said that? Let me find it. There we go. Joanna, red van.
So just to get back to that, there's nothing wrong with the colors. And like I said long ago, nothing wrong with the general colors at all. Red, blue, pink. I've got a red behind me, butterfly. Butterflies have red in them, all sorts of animals. It's not, the color spectrum is not the issue. What the colors mean can be used negatively or positively. Red is a dynamic color. It's used for energy, but it's also the color of blood. So obviously can go down that line of things.
Oh, okay? Right, I see. Yep.
Right,
exactly. Is that what the Masons use the red for? I've seen a lot of red and gold as well. They use like you know, red and gold.
Okay, so the red blazer, everybody, well, I don't know. Most folk that study masonry understand the red blazer. The red blazer, you can go and look it up. It's a ton of information on the red blazer, and then it's full of the symbolisms. Now, the red blazer and the color red in general, as Daz points out, is reflected through the whole case very, very purposefully. But in this case, I feel negatively. The red coats are literally there symbolizing both red coats, and there's blue coats and grey coats. So that's a Civil War type of thing. You can go and look at what the red coats mean. Equally, the red coats are the soldiers at Buckingham Palace with the red coats and the black hats. The red rose is the Lancaster Constabulary red rose, and there's a white rose, and you have War of the Roses. So you can look, of course, you can look down these lines to understand that side of things. Now, just onto the gold, to finish with the colors, onto the gold. The first witness, Bowman, Christina Bowman, I put out a video showing you how she appears, almost her twin or clone, in the movie The Number 23. The Number 23 movie occurred before this. So what I'm alluding to is not that Christina Bowman is an actress in The Number 23 and knows Jim Carrey. What I'm alluding to is that the character and the story, part of the story from The Number 23, the movie with Jim Carrey, was taken probably by Rebecca Smith, by the covert team, to utilize within the psyop and the ruse and the cover-up, which brings in all three sides of the triangle that we're talking about tonight. So that's where the color red comes in, and the color gold is massively prevalent throughout Masonry. You see it in the aprons, the chains, and in the Nicola Bulley case, it's obvious, it's everywhere.
Is that
Even
the
in one of
yellow?
the witnesses, yellowy
that-
gold, isn't it?
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because the flowers are yellow, and wow,
The
it's
ribbons.
mad. It's great, isn't it, people? You know, we can have a brainstorm like that. I know we've gone deep and dived, and you know, it'd be nice to bring it back to the surface. So, what's your thoughts on? Let's bring it back to the logical thing that, you know, just the mainstream, you know, the general public think that Paul's done it and he's getting away with it, and do you think that could be possibly the case as well, Storm, that Paul's done this? You know, he's just adding off and, you know, just like a normal kind of domestic murder.
Like everybody says, again, respects to anybody who's not involved. If you haven't done anything, Mr. Paul Ansell, then okay, respects.
Of course.
And you
course,
know,
yeah.
I wouldn't like anybody saying something about me if my partner was missing. But
That's it as well. You know, it's horrible to talk about these things. I actually think that someone would do that, and we don't. You know, we don't condone that at all, do we? We're not saying that. We're just exploring, aren't we? Possibilities, you know, brainstorming, you know, because it's interesting, isn't it? For other cases as well. You know, there's been a lot of cases where there's been a wife murder and a, you know,
correct.
yeah, husband murder through their partners. So
very, very, very common these days, isn't it, to see sort of two people, the couple come up, or the one of them, and try to defend themselves, and people making judgments. It's quite a regular trend. It started quite a few years ago, didn't it? In these cases, no?
yeah, of course. And the other thing is as well, I found is when Paul said again, you know, it's very train on eggshells. I always said that he's the first person that everyone looks at. You know, he's the first person. Now I'm thinking, if it was my partner gone missing, would I start to be thinking about that? Or I wouldn't even think. I'd just be thinking, I want them back. I don't care what people say about me. I just want them back. Say what you want. Why? I don't see why I'd have to mention it in an interview to kind of mention it.
Seriously, Daz, if my partner went missing, that I'm in love and my partner goes missing, I wouldn't even go online. I would be out looking. Yeah. I'd be out looking for my partner.
And you wouldn't go Sunday or Saturday. You'd be there all night. You'd be there every hour of the day, wouldn't you?
To the death of myself. What else? What else do you expect from a man or a woman or a person, from a human? How do you sleep? How do you stop?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. After 12 years of loving somebody, and you can sit there and show no emotion, like I don't know. And that's where I thought about psyop, and you know, could he be an actor, and could people be picking up on the acting side of it because he's, you know, like a drama? That's his character.
Yeah, there's of course that's where you question
anything's possible.
Well, that's where you question it, Daz, because it starts to look like his behavior with the scarf and the way he presented himself, the things he said, this neuro-linguistic programming, which is like a signal. People, if you don't know what neuro-linguistic programming is, it's neuro is your brain, linguistic is a language, and that's programming. So it's a language programming, a language programming of the brain. So it works with symbols and pictures and phrases, and they keep saying the phrase vanished into thin air. And then of course you had let's click this off here. You had Dan Walker, friend of Ed and Emma White's and connected through Celebrity Come Dancing, saying Paul saying on his interview with Dan Walker, saying vanished into thin air. And then you had Dan Walker getting the film thing off there called Vanished into thin air, is what you would say after that. So these things are not normal. these things start to show you the psyop side of things. These things
Yeah.
start to allude to a neuro-linguistical programming going on, which is not normal. It doesn't have to be there. You don't have to have everybody saying the same thing. Oh, she's vanished into thin air. It's like they've been programmed, or they're acting or putting forward that, you know?
Yeah, because why would you each person say the same thing? You would have your own interpretation on it, wouldn't you? If you're being interviewed, you'd be like, she's if she's just like lost or gone, or she's not vanished into thin air. You know, it could fit down the UFO theory. She's been abducted, or you know, the wording. You know, like, well, she's not, can't possibly be vanished into thin air. You wouldn't accept it, would you? You'd be like, I don't. And I don't know. It's crazy. I wonder if we've got any questions. So we have a look. If anyone got any questions to ask Storm.
Yeah, I'll just
please
cover
do.
that while you're waiting there. While we're in question, vanished into thin air is exactly that. It's impossible. So they're stating the impossibility. I mean, nobody vanishes into thin air. Something happens.
Unless you're being Star Trek and you're being beamed up, Scotty.
Yeah, Sam Beckett maybe. Unless you're Sam Beckett. You know?
Unless, yeah, he changed his name. You know, all these synchronicity type of, you know, like, you know, changing names, and very odd. And I still think this where are we? This statement, this that's come out, this whoever's been arrested, whoever this is this fake news? I mean, I'd like Penny Bunny to look at this, because she's great at sourcing information.
That's true.
She really is. She should know about this.
I was thinking that. I'm hoping she's watching that and gets that information. Send it to her if she's not watching. Too.
Yeah, definitely. And it'd be great to have her on the show and just having a chat. And it'd be great to get, I mean, mind you, he's just out there, isn't he? He's in a class of his own.
We love him. We love him. He's brilliant.
But yourself as well, you know, your mind. I mean, you've without going into too much detail, you've had some really, really bizarre experiences, life-changing experiences, Storm, haven't you? It's on your channel. Is it on your channel, or have you kept that?
Not really, but we'll put it out someday. But yeah.
Oh, someday we'll do a show on it. But it's very interesting. So yeah, we're coming up to 2 hours,
someday,
Storm.
I'll say someday, maybe Sunday, but yeah.
But we're coming up to 2 hours. I think we've covered a lot. We haven't got anywhere because there's nowhere to go. We're just brainstorming, aren't we? So I think, what can we put to bed? Is there anything we can put to bed that she wasn't in the river? I think at them weeks when they say it, without a doubt, that can be ticked off. Not possible. So that fact can be gone. The witnesses are not factual.
They vanished into thin air.
The witnesses did as well.
Well, they did. They did, literally, Daz. Look at the original police report. The original police report has Miss Bowman, the lady in red, and the lady in gold with the pram. The now police reports do not. Both the witnesses have vanished into thin air, literally.
So that's changed. That's gone, and everything's been taken off Facebook. I did some research trying to get Lancashire Police. It was taken off weeks ago. They've shadow banned that themselves. They've showed you they can change the name of a road on Google Maps throughout the history. Correct. They're just showing you what they're capable of doing, aren't they? Basically, you know.
Yeah, as well. As well, though, I don't know if anybody tried to utilize during the case from the beginning the Lancaster Police online access directly to Becky Smith's covert team, I believe. I accessed it many times with information. I never heard a thing. Perhaps my information was useless. But did anybody get any? Did anybody know anybody, or did anybody actually get contacted back from the covert team saying, thank you for your information, was useless, or thank you for your information, was very useful, or anything at all? Or were we supposed to? Or was it a shadow ban? Was that just a shadow?
Could well be. I mean, the search, if this is the search team, how many people are there? And this is all you see. this is all you would see. I think the first day there's supposed to have been a mass search by, is it a mountain rescue or something? A big massive search.
Believe so, heard so.
But you know, all you're seeing is like these look like photo opportunities. We'll just get
Yes.
together, don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, it's a project.
And didn't somebody say,
operation.
Storm, am I allowed to talk about this, or is this coming up in your next video, about how it was prepped beforehand?
Just go for it. It doesn't matter. You can talk about it. Sure.
Was it prepped? Someone saw it being prepped the day before the body was retrieved.
That's just recently come out, hasn't it? That people are saying that they seem to think that there was people there on Saturday doing shoots, video shoots, photographic shoots on Saturday the day before. I mean, again, Dazza, I'm not there. I can't say, I saw them. I don't know. But man,
crazy. It is. I mean, you know, it's going to be mad to see where this goes, isn't it? You know, and it's funny how the parents, Nicola, had only been on the once, again with the red brick wall and Emma's place, and you know, it's just we are going. It is one massive loop, isn't it? Someone's just said, I think I put it up there. Where was it? Someone says we're in a loop, and it is. It's just like a loop, isn't it? Round in circles, just like Paul says, going round and round and round in circles.
But you see that you see those two things that Paul put forward to us. One was around and round and round, talking about loops, so going nowhere, and the other one was vanishing to thin air. So they basically, both of them talk about non-existence. Nothing happens. If it's a loop or if it doesn't exist, it's the same thing. It's pointless. It's pointless.
Yeah. So it is. And could there have been no crime scene because there was no crime scene? Is that, you know, I mean, could that well be? Because you just don't know, do you? It's just
here's the thing. When we look at an illusionist, a magician on stage, David Copperfield. Now, when David Copperfield throws a big cloth over a Boeing 747, a jet.
Yeah, good point, this.
And puts people around it in a circle, holding hands. And then the jet disappears and the cloth's just there and it's gone. Is he actually disappearing a jet? Or is it an illusion?
An illusion, isn't it? It is an illusion.
It always has been since the beginning of illusionists and magic. Yeah, she is. The cloth goes over. Now she's not there. She's disappeared because she went through the trap door. And it's amazing. And she pops up over there 2 seconds later. It's standard illusion magic.
And it's like a dream, Neil Clark says. It's like a dream. That was used a lot, you know, not real, like a dream, you know.
Illusion, a dream, exactly. Yeah. Maya. So the question is, was she there in the first place? When the person disappears, there's only one of two options. Either there's an escape hatch or the person wasn't there.
I don't think she was.
Well, there's no escape hatch in the field. It's not like a stage with a magician. So the other option has to be real. She wasn't there.
And I did say then to you as well, when you plan a robbery, a bank robbery, you plan it for a year, don't you? Go all the variations, all the variables that can go wrong, you plan. You would have had to do that. Let's say someone says, one of the theories is Emma's got the phone and she's walking through the field and Paul's asked her to do this job. Now, what about, there's too many variables that can go wrong there. Someone could see Emma. There could have been a drone up, you know, doing some overhead pictures. There could have been someone in the field who shouldn't have been there. Someone could have bumped into Emma. So there's too many variables that can go wrong in that scenario. It would have had to have been well thought of, wouldn't it?
Super premeditated. And here's one of the things. In one of my videos, I point out Jason Rothwell's Mimi post from exactly 1 year ago to the date. So the 27th of January, 2022. He posts the Mimi that says, I can't remember the exact words verbatim, but something about, you can maybe bring it up, taking the bouquet off of my coffin and throwing it to the next one.
Is that on your channel at all, on one of your
Ab-
videos?
Yes, probably 2 videos back or 3. It's on there. That Mimi. And that was 1 year to the date of Nicola going missing. Now, that was by Jason Rothwell, posted 1 year prior to Nicola going missing, to the date that she went missing. And then 23 days later, he found her. And then he puts out the statement the next day to the world saying, yes, I'm the one who found her. Everybody knows that statement. But at the end, it says, I'm not going to entertain anybody or information on putting out information on how I found the body or how I knew, how I came to know the body was there, is what he said. I mean, that is strange. And then he
That's
follows with the reincarnation thing we just showed. So.
Yeah, so he's contradicting himself there, isn't he? He doesn't want attention. He thinks he'd shut himself down, you know, and sort of disappear. I've done my part now. I'm sorry, but it's happened. I don't want to talk about it. The next thing is he's loving all the attention. Seems to be to me. And are these statements coming from Jason or the police to people like Mind Juice? Penny's had a statement. Is that Jason or is that the police?
Who knows? Who knows who's
We
behind
don't know.
the JR or Jason Rothwell icon? It could be anybody. That's the thing with online. That, you know, that's the problem. You don't know who's who in the zoo.
So, you know, let's see. Has anyone got any questions while we're before we, because we're coming up to 2 hours. We did say 2, didn't we, Stormy? It is.
I'm good for a bit longer. I think before we close up, we should sort of take that triangle, bring it up on the screen, and just give me a chance to sort of conclude all of it together. You know?
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Just when we're ready, when we sort of gone through what we need to go through.
Yeah, can you see chat? I don't think you can you? I'm not sure if you can.
Yes,
so
yes, can see it.
If I can just if anybody knows, I don't know if anyone said anything about this. Is this fake news? This 49-year-old from Manchester being arrested with the 20-year-old. If anybody knows anything about that, that'd be good. And we're after the I know what we're after. Yeah, just carry on. Sorry, brother. Just
No, very good. I'll just finish with the AI bit before we go on. So we keep getting to that. So just to explain the AI interjection and how it continues from the company known as Serco, SERCO, Serpent Company. Sorry, Serco. Serco will be presenting and regulating for the WEF, the World Economic Forum, which they work under. And I'll give you that connection in a second. Serco will be running social crediting system brought into the UK within probably the next year or so. So it's very, very important that you monitor the regulations that you accept, because very soon you will be regulated to the ground, and not much will be left for your freedom of speech, which is a problem, both in life and outside. So just to connect those last two up, Serco is the company, the Miltech military company, running the online control under the social crediting system across the globe. But Serco's Director General is Prince William. And the WEF, who Serco is run under, monitored by, and controlled by, the World Economic Forum, is headed, and Director General of that is King Charles. So it's in the family, folks. See what I mean?
Definitely. And yeah, there's some big changes similar to the you know, those control. They were doing it down south, aren't they, with the environmental control districts where you can't go outside them. I did mention it.
Yes, sir. Green.
The green, yeah, you can't go outside. It's being tested, isn't it, or something at the moment?
Is that 15-minute cities? Is that what they're involving?
Yeah, that's it. And you're not allowed to go outside of your zone. Your carbon footprint, whatever it is.
So look at that utter bullshit. Excuse the French, folks. The carbon footprint. Let's be sensible. I mean, we're living in whatever you want to believe we're living on or in or whatever. It's a big place, and it's always been its job. Let me just say, the job of fauna and flora. So fauna being animals and flora being flowers, nature, Mother Nature. The Latin words are fauna and flora. They work together as a system called Mother Nature. But the main thing about them on the chemical level, on the gases level, is animals, humans included, exhale carbon dioxide. Okay? And plants breathe in, ingest carbon dioxide. So we breathe out and the plants breathe in. Then the plants transmute the carbon dioxide into oxygen, and they exhale oxygen, and we breathe in oxygen. So the plants and the animals, fauna and flora, long known, work perfectly harmonically together in a perfect symbiotic system called Mother Nature. And that's gone on long before humans came and played with industry and such like. And our industry is like a spot or a drop in the ocean to the carbon footprint. And actually, not the pollutants and pesticides, but the carbon in the atmosphere should actually be food for nature, for the plant world. So the idea that we have too much carbon and should reduce carbon emissions and all carbon to zero or to very low outputs means that we'll kill off nature. Nature will not be able to breathe.
So it's just another lie, isn't it? The control. And it's all to do with money, isn't it? Tax, carbon footprint tax. You're paying for it now. So soon you'll be able to. They'll be charging you to breathe next, won't they? Oxygen tax.
Well, you saw.
Sorry, I'm just digressing.
No, you saw that in a prank section on YouTube. Somebody was selling air in bottles to people as a prank.
Right. So I've got the sorry, I could only find that one. So we've got the 3 points of view, Stormont. We've got the Masonic murder, the police ruse, and also the digital psyop. Those are the 3 points that we've discussed. We've gone right, we've jumped about on it. We try to have a structure, but there's no pointers really. It's just best just to jump about and brainstorm, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully.
As long as we bring it all together and tie it up in the end.
I just hope that we've done okay. It's first time we've done it, so yeah.
Exactly. I think we've done brilliantly, Gaz. We just keep going there, Daz, man. I just think we didn't answer enough questions, but we're going to get that sorted, folks. Don't worry. We'll be more interactive with it. It's a struggle with all of us YouTubers to try and juggle absolutely everything, but we're going to get that side sorted. We'd like to answer your questions as they come up, because that's very interactive. I'm kind of seeing that now.
I think it is too. I think we need a moderator as well that can help to, tell us about a question, because it's so hard to look at everything and read the chat and focus on yourself and where you're up to, because you just go down you deep dive into the mind, and I have to try and pull you back around, and you refocus the situation. I have to focus. It's tough, mate. It really is, trying to juggle it, and it's trying to keep it entertaining for the people as well. And we've got to be careful in what we talk about, and not to incriminate anybody, because we have no proof and it's just speculation.
True,
There's a lot, isn't there?
I agree. Let's pick up on Purple Fairy's comment there that you've got up there for now, because that's very important. And let's see if there's a few. Let's do it a bit. Let's chat a bit with the folk.
Okay, let's do it.
Like, I'll pick up on that there. Serco, that's brilliant. She's Purple Fairy. I'll say she, it could be anybody, but excuse the reference to gender. But Purple Fairy says, Serco, they also have the hotels for immigrants in UK. No one is allowed to go in or question them. Agreed. There's a guy out, I can't remember his name, on YouTube in his little rural area. He usually, like myself, has another topic. I do spiritualism. He does filming of nature. But in his area, this has occurred, and it's very real. The Hilton hotel chain has been sold out. I don't know wholeheartedly or percentagely how many or not. Their actual hotels, the residences, they've sold them to Serco. And Serco has infiltrated these hotels with not just Muslim families trying to integrate into the UK society in a fine manner, which is fully acceptable. They've taken, most of these hotels only have young males, not females and children. Most of them, some do.
Are you saying children or adults?
Children.
All right.
They do not have women and children involved. They just have males, young
Okay.
males, up to 200 in the Hilton hotels, basically across the UK, as far as I know. It's quite widespread now and reported. That's very odd that they only have a small male force in certain locations all across the UK. That seems odd, and I would intimate that the attitude, because they are unavailable to the public and they do have security and you're not allowed to integrate with the people there at all, so it's not about integration at the moment. I would intimate that it's about preparing for a cultural disagreement.
Do you mean not integrating them into the country, keeping them at bay? Is that what you're saying, Storm, in a way?
I believe directly that they're probably building little forces of men for reasons.
Oh, right. Like an army.
Politically motivated reasons. Non-local little armies from countries who have been very, very much mistreated and therefore should and do have a gripe against the people who mistreated them, which was somewhat in a general form the Western civilization. And there's now little pods of them all through the UK. For what reason exactly? Because they're not exactly being treated too well and they're not integrating as families into the society. So what's going on is the question on everybody's mind.
Yeah. I mean, because it's all protected, that isn't it? I mean, you know, we had Brexit that's supposed to have stopped that, but obviously it hasn't. It's made it worse because you've got now France who are kind of saying, well, it's your problem. You didn't want to be part of our European Union. You didn't want to be part of our club. You deal with it. So they're just throwing them. I mean, I even thought about, could these boats be a way of sort of transporting the children, and then the children go missing on the boats?
I'm sure they've got multiple ways of transporting. Human trafficking happens in all sorts of ways, you know.
Someone's just said as well, Jane Callier, can you see that, Storm? Caravans are being used, children caravans. You know, so again, you know, they're putting the. It's all so wrong, isn't it? You know, division of the populace as well. It's always been going on, that hasn't it? North Country Girl says, I mean, religion, I think that might have been designed to divide us so we can't communicate because we're easily controlled with division.
And language, of course.
Yeah, language. Yeah, language, religion.
The greatest divide, the big divide, language and religion, you're right.
So I think let's just get back to the 3 points of view. And if it's great how it's a triangle. That is so bizarre as well. The walk, it looks like it's been mowed to me. I know. I mean, people do walk that kind of way, but it's so defined. That triangle is so defined. Sorry, I can't find the picture.
No, don't worry.
Let me see if I can make it
manicured. No?
Yeah, it's you know, it's definitely a triangle, UFO triangle. But no, so the 3 points of view. Carry on, Storm. Let's see where we're at. Let's see if we can conclude it.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So, folks, basically, on the top corner there near the Rowan Watergate, we've got Masonic murder. So let's put this into 3 possibilities from my perspective, obviously only, that I've come up with. The Masonic side of it is simple. Let's speak candidly. This does happen all the proofs is there. So without any of that, we'll just basically say the plot. And the plot is that the Masons follow a calendar, which is a ritualistic calendar. They call it the Satanic calendar, which has rituals on at different periods of that calendar, which involve the murder of women, children, and sacrifice. It also involves animal sacrifice and other things we don't need to go in. We just need to focus on the case at hand. So what's been said is that in the hypothesis or the scenario or the point of view one, the Masonic murder, is that Nicola Bulley was abducted purposefully, probably from her home, definitely not anything to do with the field. I don't believe she was ever in the field or ever even made it to the school. I believe
No,
that I believe the abduction occurred on the 26th, the evening of the 26th, or the late night of the 26th, early morning of the 27th, in the dark hours of that period.
I think we can put that as well, because there's no CCTV. They were telling us look a different way. You know, there's no proof that she was in the field. So I think we can tick that off as well, can't we?
The one thing that you say is there is no evidence she was anywhere ever. I mean, we haven't seen her except for that one tobogganing picture, and you know, was that her? You know what I mean? So yes. So the murders, the Masonic murder, is that the Masons, obviously not the Grand Masters, have lower minions, and we've pointed towards some of who those are due to all the evidences and things that are coming up, to go and do the dirty business, to actually abduct the person quietly without being seen or giving away too much, take them to a location where the ritual can occur, and then dispose of the body. Now, those minions are usually the lower ranked negative people, but they're also involved in the ritual. And then many other higher elites are involved in the ritual. So this ritual could be between anything from a few people to over 100 people at a ritual. And I would refer you to something called Bohemian Grove in California, if you wanted to see what I'm talking about.
That's an amazing subject, and we could do a show on that. Alex Jones, he was the first person that got me into that, you know, amazing. And I still think that might have been set up, how he got in there and allowed to see, and they did the effigy, you know, and, you know, they burnt, it's supposed to have been a real body on the fire, on the effigy, but we don't know, do we? I mean, is that right, Storm Effigy? I'm saying that word right?
Correct. Absolutely correct, Daz. And you're right about Alex Jones. We don't know if that was purposeful, if he was allowed to leak that information. I know these people want you to know. They want you to know.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's possible he was allowed. Who knows? But anyway, he leaked it, and it's out, and you can refer to that. But just not to get distracted, come back to the Masonic ritual. So basically, the higher Masons, the elites, the Grand Masters will get the lower Masons to collect under the Brotherhood ritual of you cannot tell or you will be deceased, made deceased, and collect the body. And as I said, bring it to a location, the ritual occurs, and then the body's either disposed of or sold. That these days there's a lot of money on organ trafficking, sex trafficking, sales. People want buy people. The sales of people is very huge, unfortunately.
Any idea on what body parts go for? I don't know. I mean, is it a lot? I mean, today. I mean, if you're a rich person and you've got, you know, one your loved ones needing a body part, a specific, you would pay, wouldn't you?
Well, yes, there is a standard, unfortunately, a rate, and a body goes for about 250, $250,000, a whole body.
Wow.
Yeah, and each organ has its own values. 37 grand for a pancreas, and I think it's a 49 for a kidney.
Wow.
So there's you're talking 50 grand to go, mate. You know, just for cutting out somebody's piece and dropping it at a location. Yeah.
Ooh. Especially if it's just certain blood. Does it have to be a blood group and fit the body as well?
That's critical. That's critical, that is usually, funny enough you say on that is usually a signature in these cases of organ trafficking.
Okay.
You will have a period that you cannot understand, and it was the period where the body or a part of the body, or at least the blood, has to be taken to a lab, checked, identified that there's no diseases, so it won't be rejected, and that it's the correct blood type. These two
Wow.
factors. If the body doesn't fit, it's often either disposed of, frozen for another operation, so not to be another body in another operation, or just disposed of, as I say, in various ways that they do that.
So even though it says Masonic murder, it couldn't be an effigy or a burning. It could be, they wouldn't just do that. It'd be a waste, basically, a waste of a human body, basically.
Yes, you're wasting the money unless you have to, unless you're forced to. If you can't make money on it, then you'll just obviously dispose of it.
Just one thing as well, I forgot to mention. The other side of it that was very interesting that you mentioned, Storm, was it could have been a psyop, and you and Penny touched base on this. It was very interesting. It could have been a retrieval and find, and we've solved it. That's gone wrong.
Yeah, the damsel in distress idea is simply that a abduction, an abduction, a false abduction, a fake abduction is set up. So to talk you through, it'd be very simple. Just to say a theory, I'm not saying any of this happened, but
no, of course.
If Paul Ansel organized that Nicola Bulley was abducted, and then the abductees Paul Ansel had organized that they don't bring harm to Nicola Bulley, they ask for a ransom, he pays it, Nicola Bulley comes back to him, it's damsel in distress, he's the hero, it's all great, and the money that's been paid is simply returned, bar the expenses that he had to pay for the whole thing to happen out. And it's that simple.
Funny, the money, the GoFundMe got set up. I wonder how much that is now. Does anybody know the GoFundMe page? Is that still running, up and running? And that was supposed to have been set up by who's into real estate, a friend of Paul's or the family. How true that is, I don't know. But again, these are things that other channels are covering. So, Penny's quite good on that side of thing, isn't she? That side. So, yeah, I think that could be a possibility. So the Masonic murder, body parts, quite possibly. And then obviously we've got the police ruse that could be the police just throwing us off track, nothing to see here while something's going on over here.
Exactly. It's called misdirection in the illusion or magical world or sorcery world, or, this type of world, black or dark, it's the same thing. So to cover that, the police ruse. So on the Masonic murder side, you would have a cover-up necessary. So this is where we're getting to, where all the stories come together. On a Masonic murder ritual, you obviously need a story, a cover-up, because there's a woman gone missing, or in this case, a woman, a person, a body gone missing. You need a story, like she fell in the river, she drowned, it's a case of misadventure, it's been passed off by the correct authorities, the coroner, etc., dealt with by the correct authorities, the police, and everything's above board, and it's just another misadventure. There's hundreds of these that occur, nothing to see here. But so that would cover that. You would need a cover story, and that would start to be the river cover story. But if you kick to the idea of the police actually doing their job, which I believe is a normal and obvious thing, that they would go to the river after being called there as a concerned citizen has gone missing, not by a concerned citizen, for a person who's got issues, high-risk issues, has gone missing. They would do their search. But the police divers, if it's done correctly, if it's a correct search and it's real people, real police doing it, and they're really looking for a body, they're not acting or crisis actors or whatever, then they would find the body in a few hours.
Without a doubt, and that little stream.
That's
easily.
obvious. That's obvious to everybody. I don't care who says what. And Peter Folding,
so we can tip that off, can't we? That's not, it's not happened.
He pointed that out as well.
So, he did, didn't he? And what's your thoughts on? Do you think that's actually happened to him, or do you think? I don't really want, it's just speculation, but do you feel that it could have been part of it in a way, maybe money talks and all that, or?
I don't know what Peter Folding's standing on it is now. He looked like the honest guy during the psyop or during the experience. He looked like the honest guy.
I think so.
Well, I can only give you my personal experience. and I'll speak directly to you, Peter, in case you're watching YouTube. I did call you. I phoned you directly and spoke to you. I believe you lied to me personally on the phone. You told me you were John, your partner, and your name is Peter John Folding, which I now have discovered. So I believe I was speaking to you, and you misdirected me away from asking you for help. I then sent you an email, which you did not answer. I then sent you another email asking you why you did not answer my email, which you did not answer. I then spoke to your secretary, Jane, personally at SGI, and she fobbed me off with a story about you being away on holiday, on a family holiday, when that was not the truth. You have not contacted me. I offered, and I will tell the public this, to pay privately for you to take your craft and investigations into Rowan Water Lake and to search it. I offered to pay for it privately, and you didn't get back to me. So you explain to the public about that.
Is that because maybe he wasn't allowed to, with it being sort of, shadow banned, which it got shadow banned by the press and everybody, which was really odd. And that makes it even more compelling that the YouTubers are going to go down. It's just crazy. I mean, we could do another show. I mean, we could keep going on, couldn't we? I think as things come out, we will discuss it. And then we got the digital psyop, where at the moment there seems to be a lot of focus on that side, doesn't there?
Yeah. So just to finish off,
sorry.
Daz, full respects to Peter, but if you don't contact me when I contact you, there's an issue. And we were trying to work on something very serious, and this was months and months ago when it was the first contact, Daz, was when Peter was in the river and Rowan Water Lake was only across the field. So sorry to call you out, sir, but please, thank you. Let's move on.
Wow. That'd be interesting to know why. You think you would just send you a statement? I mean, Jason Rothwell released a statement, didn't he? Just a little statement to explain why. In fact, I mean, no respect to Peter, but it's a little bit, I don't know, a bit rude. Sorry to be blunt.
The word is unprofessional.
Yeah, unprofessional.
So,
to say the least.
Yeah, and Jason Rothwell, did he release that statement? It seemed like his attorney released that statement. It was very, very well written. That's very. The language is not of a psychic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, would you say that would be protected in a court of law as well? Are the words being used very correctly?
Yes, quite. Even right down to the last sentence, which was a bit dodgy. So you see, I don't know who manufactured that for him, but it certainly wasn't him.
Oh, it's been great, Storm, to chat with you and to do this. It's so hard to keep it focused and on topic, because your mind is just full of information. You're just full of information, and I'm not getting into what's happened in the past with you, but I do believe it's your experiences that you've had that's probably made you achieve. You've talked about orbs and and all that type of thing that you're very in tune to, and way out there, brother.
Thank you. Bro.
I'm honored, very honored to be able to chat with you, like this. Thank you.
You too, man. Massive respect. We'll talk more on that subject. Daz, let's give it a few minutes to wrap this up. Can we just to throw in the digital psyop?
No, please carry on, mate. Carry on, brother.
I know we're getting on, folks. I'm just going to throw in the catchment here. Put it all together. Let's net it. In. So a Masonic murder would have a cover-up story, folks. It would need one, and it would be in place prior, premeditated cover-up story. A police ruse would be an immediate thrown together cover-up story, not premeditated because they didn't know this would happen. They didn't know they would need a ruse to buy time to investigate the high-end crime
that's
going on. So, and that's the difference you can look for. What was thrown together, and what I'm saying is that in the Masonic side, there's lots of evidence through Jason Rothwell's posts and stuff that this was premeditated and other factors. Through the police ruse option, picking out parts and characters from different movies, and I believe the number 23, The Wicker Man, Shakespeare, Eyes Wide Shut was mentioned.
Yep,
There's,
definitely.
there's bits of information and characters from each of these movies very, very identically, like it's been taken out, the photograph and the information, and been stuck together with a few other bits to make up a ruse. So that's what I'm pointing out when I'm pointing out
Okay.
the connections between the movies and the ruse that the police would have to create.
Right, I see what you mean. So it's been created. It's been almost put together like a movie.
Yes, correct. Obviously, imagine yourself. A murder is committed. You know it's that. After a little bit of investigation, basically on day 2, you know that there's an abduction murder, and that you need time, and that you know because 6 years ago, the same 2 people, Lawson and Becky, were involved in that what we call the drug bust. They're calling it the drug case.
Yeah, with the same characters.
Right,
Similar.
so you got the same names. I'm not saying there's any involvement. I'm not saying you guys are involved, gentlemen. And again, respects everybody who's done their time, has done their time, and so on and so forth. But it is strange that the 2 officers' names are involved and the 2 characters' names involved are re-involved in this case.
Mad, isn't it?
Well, it
Too
is
coincidental. Synchronicity.
Right. So it leads you to ask, which part is then true? Is it Masonic murder being covered up? Is it a police ruse that's had to be thrown together? And what I'm saying is, when you do a police ruse that you have to throw together to cover an investigation that you're actually putting all your time into and your energy, you know from yourself from doing this experience, you don't have time and energy to go and think about a whole police ruse. You're just going to flick on a few movies, grab some characters and some info, not all from the same movie, it's too obvious, throw them together in a story and feed it out to the public, and they'll never know anything unless I come along and yourself and Mind Juice and Penny Bunny and Super Chuffer and Only Me and cause a lot of shit.
And that's it, and disclose it. And it's good, like I say, it's like a big it's good. So
and the psyop.
That's the one I'm close to. That's the one I'm, close to,
so
the psyop. It's something I feel it's so odd.
So that's obvious to everybody that it could be a psyop. That's what Daz is referring to. There's so many coincidences and synchronicities, crossovers, lots of bullshit. Witnesses
promoting it, hyping it up,
witnesses
making it something
vanishing
that's not
to thin air. Exactly what you're saying, Daz. Hyping it up, putting it out there, taking it all the way to the Home Secretary, the Home Affairs, Home Secretary, I believe. So why would you do all of that? You would do all of that because you want to create a psyop. And I believe Emma White herself has gone to the Home Secretary directly, probably with a petition.
I've got that.
So
I've got that here as well. I don't know if this is be able to share, but it's something that I had an email into that I shared with you.
Correct.
Storm. Let me just see if
while you bring that up, I'll just finish up with the digital psyop. So why would you take this to the highest level? Why would you give out Nicola Bulley's medical information? Everybody knows you don't give out medical information. It's kind of a moral respect, an ethical respect. So why would they do that? They would do that because they want to take it to the next level. They want the psyop to be exposed. They want it to be a criminal, become a injustice issue, a criminal issue, so they can authoritize it, bring in Serco, bring in the social crediting system across the board. And that's what the psyop would be for, folks. The psyop would be pushing towards Serco social crediting control.
And this email that I sent to you as well, it's someone who's he sounds like he's very connected to the village. And he's actually saying, isn't he, that he knows that Emma White is connected, well, not so much connected, but Emma White herself, that she didn't really know Nicola Bulley that well. She wasn't, very good friend, massively friends with her, it says. And also on about she's talking to the Prime Minister. So I don't know. This is just, we have these emails, don't we, Storm, and we look at them and we just hope they're authentic.
Right.
We have no way of, sourcing it. So it's just hearsay. But this email is saying that she's actually, talking to So how true that is, I don't know. It's very interesting.
Right, exactly. And to bring it all together, folks, into the center, into the 3 points of view, to lock them together in one central point of view, we could, you don't have to decide, we could have all 3 of these in place. This could be a ritualistic Masonic murder standard that's been covered up with a police ruse while they are investigating the Masons and the rest of the people involved in this ritualistic murder. But the Masons see this whole case and this international interest as an opportunity to bring in their psyop control, or more like plan this whole thing to bring in the psyop control, the circle and the social crediting.
Yeah, just shut us down, stop us
Yeah.
having freedom of speech
Yes.
and everything. So we'll see. It's been really good, Auntie, and it'd be nice for us to talk about other things, brother, as well. Deeper things, but we just touch base on this, and I'm sure we'll do another show. If if people have got any ideas for a show, let us know. Do you want to do another one, Storm? Do you want to do some more of these shows?
You mean tomorrow? I'm busy. I'm busy. Let's do Tuesday.
Yeah, so we'll see when someone else is live, and we'll make sure we're not stepping over other channels. It'd be nice to have it in gaps, so it might just be, we'll just say, look, we're going live tonight. If we've got, nothing going on outside our lives, we've got busy lives. So, and it's nice not to step over other channels. I think respect, I'm a massive believer in respect, brother. I am, honestly. And I'm so, I think the
Thanks,
love,
Neil.
do you think so as well, Storm? I think respect, and we're all on the same team, I would hope and believe, and each channel has their own way of doing things. So I hope you've all enjoyed it, people. I'm getting a little bit, what's the name now? I need some water and a refreshment.
I agree with you, Daz. Daz, across the board, respect. I agree with you.
Of
respect
course.
Between all YouTubers, all people, everybody, all listeners, all viewers. Let's just step it up a little bit, folks.
Show the love. Show the love.
Yeah, man. Bring it on. Let's just show the love. Let's step it up. Look, I know we've all had a little go at each other along the line. Yeah, some people have overstepped marks or whatever, and we may be dealing with big cases, but we are not trying to point fingers or hurt anybody unduly. Anybody who's done their time, respect to that. We just want the truth, and if you've done bad, you need to do your time again. So, or do time if you've not done time in the past. You know what I'm talking about, folks. If you're criminal and you've done the deed, you need to do the time. And we're not here to be unjust or unjust against anybody. We're here to just bring justice to everybody, including Nicola in this case.
We all make mistakes through life. We've all done things. We've all got skeletons, and why not? That's part of a life experience. We've been, we're chosen to be here, I think, to experience stuff. And I go on the love vibration. I think, I come from a world of, music, and it's my love and passion, and that's where I'm in a club feeling, love and hugs, and so there you go, brother. Massive, big respect.
That's it. You too, Daz, you've done brilliant. And let's give out massive respect to all the people who came on here. Thank you. Thank you so much. We respect you. I wish we could have integrated a little bit more, but we'll learn about chat. And next live stream in a few days or week, whenever Daz is ready, we'll be more, what do you call it, when we integrate with chat?
We need a moderator. If anyone wants to be a moderator, we'll work
that out.
We'll
be more integrative. We'll be more integrative.
Interactive.
Interactive. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I don't know. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say now. Storm, I'm lost for words.
Well, I'll say to you, Daz, I'll say thank you to you. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you to everybody.
You,
we'll be bringing you more powerful topics through Mind Blowing, through
your own channel.
Citizen, and Rainbow Storm.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
So keep a lookout for us and share the love, and thanks, people. And I suppose it's good night. God bless. Till next time.
That's it. Good night. Thanks for listening, or good morning, or good afternoon to whoever you are, wherever you are. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back.
Thank you. Bye for now. Till next time.
Cheers, Daz. Just go private there.